The following is a special presentation on TNN, the Nashville Network.
For years, drivers have felt the wrath of the challenging Monster Mile. From its barriers, there is no easy escape. A hard dose of reality awaits the drivers at every turn. And today, white lightning has struck Dover Downs. The monster has a whole new face. How will the drivers react? TNN Motorsports presents live exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 from the Monster Mile at Dover, Delaware. It is a perfect day to go racing here in the first state. Temperatures near 80 degrees, bright sunny skies gleaming off this brand new concrete surface. Hi everybody, I'm Mike Joy. It is bright down here. The track surface, the technology of tires, and the continued rush to stardom of NASCAR's young guns are the stories that top our list today, so let's get right to it. Way down at turn number 1 earlier today, Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvin had a look at track conditions.
Mike, I'm down here with a guy that gave us a tremendous lot of pleasure watching races here at Dover, Delaware. Ernie, the racetrack is so white that the glare off of it, a lot of the drivers are changing the shields in their helmets because the glare is so much they have to go to a darker lens. But there's some other things that really make this racetrack unique now.
Well, I tell you, I think the transition to the racetrack has changed a lot. When you get into turn 1, you used to like come over a hill and drop down the hill. Now the transition is more of a smoother one, and I think that's going to make for a more competitive race.
Well, I'm sure of that. Randy?
Last weekend, Jeff Gordon's race team was fined $60,000 for having an illegal hub and wheel assembly on the right front. They came here to Dover. Would you think that affected their speed? They're all legal this week. It didn't affect him whatsoever. He's on the pole with a new track record. Last week's over. I know the car's quick, but you had to make changes this morning.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this team is a lot stronger than that, and the best way to handle pressure is to perform, and we did that. And, you know, Ray Evernham and this whole DuPont crew has just been awesome this year, and we're not going to let anything like that hold us back. But we did have to make some changes with the tires. You know, we only got about 10 laps this morning, so whether we made the right decision or not, we're just going to have to find out. But, you know, I think in the long run, if we're there at the last 100 laps, we're going to have a car to beat.
Okay, good luck, Jeff. On the outside of row 1, another great qualifying effort for Ward Burton in the Hardee's number 31 Chevy. Now let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Randy. And one of the reasons that they had to make the changes that Jeff Gordon mentioned a while ago is the tire situation here at Dover. In yesterday's Busch race, they ran into problems. They were supposed to run the same compound. Despite all the extensive testing that Goodyear did, the tires blistered yesterday. They were taking a shot in the dark. They did not know what to expect. So last night, they brought in all new tires. As you see, we're in Dale Earnhardt's pit here right now. Each team is allotted 6 sets of tires to start the race on. There are 5 here in the pits, 1 on the car. That is it. So a lot of anxious people down here. They don't think that the tires will last that long. Goodyear says they will. Mike?
Thanks, Glenn. They have fired engines here at Dover Downs for the first test of the new concrete over the 500-mile distance. We'll be right back with you live on TNN.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, making the world a very cool place. By Buick and your local dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. And by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
They've begun the pace lap here at the Monster Mile, so let's get right to the starting grid for today's race. Jeff Gordon has his 6th pole of the season and his 2nd in a row. And alongside Ward Burton, first time he's been on the front row this year, great qualifying effort. Row number 2, Bobby Labonte coming off that great win at Charlotte last week, and John Andretti, another young gun, makes his best qualifying start of the season. Back in row number 3, Sterling Marlin, the Daytona and Darlington winner, and Jeff Bodine, who won here in 1986 for Rick Hendrick. Row number 4, young Ricky Craven makes his second straight start in the top 10, and Joe Nemechek has his 4th top 10 start this year. Hut Strickland had a strong 7th last week at Charlotte. Brett Bodine, his 4th top 10 start this year. Jimmy Spencer has 3 top 10 finishes here, and Michael Waltrip finished 3rd last week. Mark Martin, the winner at Talladega, and 3rd in the points, and Bobby Hamilton, 7th in the point standings for King Richard. 8th row, Morgan Shepherd finished 2nd here in 88, and Rusty Wallace is going for his 4th win in a row at Dover. Rick Mast finished in the top 10 both races here last year, and Dale Jarrett finished 2nd here 2 years ago. Terry Labonte, the winner at Richmond, and Bill Elliott, a 4-time winner at Dover. Row 11, Jeff Burton led here a lot in September, and Randy LaJoie makes his first start here since 1988. Dale Earnhardt way back in row 12, 3-time Dover winner, and Dick Trickle finished 3rd here 1990. Dave Marcus makes his 44th career start leading all drivers here at Dover, and Todd Bodine has 3 top 10s this year. Elton Sawyer for the 4th time, he's in Junior Johnson's Ford. And Bobby Hillen takes over the US Air Jasper Engines ride from Davy Jones. Ricky Rudd is a 3-time Dover winner. Chuck Bound makes his 2nd start here in a Winston Cup car. Mike Wallace had a great run yesterday in the Busch race. Ted Musgrave, 5th in the point standings. Row 17, Robert Presley, 1st-time starter here in a Cup car, and Lake Speed was 4th here in 88. Kenny Wallace makes his 5th Winston Cup start of the year, and Steve Grissom was 8th here in September. Kyle Petty looks for his 1st win in 2 seasons. Jeremy Mayfield makes his 2nd Dover start. Darrell Waltrip qualified hurt and will give way to relief driver Jimmy Hensley early. Ken Schrader won here in 1981. The other provisionals, Derek Cope, the winner here in 1990, and Greg Sachs making his 10th Dover start. More on the tire story. Here's Randy Pemberton.
Well, we're going to ask Larry McReynolds, certainly one of the best crew chiefs in the business. He's talking to Dale right now. Larry, you guys had to turn the wrenches this morning. What are your concerns?
Well, you know, this tire here is a lot similar to what we've run here before, last year and the year before, even though it was asphalt then and being concrete now, but that's all we had to go on. So left here last night, went back to the hotel, ordered a pizza, and scattered all my notes out from the past 2 years, come in and made some premeditated adjustments before the practice this morning, and we seem pretty good. So that's about really anybody had to go off of. It's a little tougher tire than what we had here the first 2 days, but it's a little different construction.
Hey, thanks, Larry. Everybody's crossing their fingers down here, Mike.
I want to know what compounded cheese was on that pizza. Here's your AutoZone race analysis for today, brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, best parts in auto parts. 42 cars, 38 qualifiers, and 4 provisionals start today's race over the 500-mile distance. In 1990, Derek Cope set the race record, 123.9 miles an hour. He'll be riding today in the Kellogg's Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. There's Terry Labonte, who starts 19th. And there's a look at the roof cam on Labonte's car. And we'll also look out there at the suspension. There you see the brake ducting, shock absorber, as he works the tires back and forth, and from underneath, view of the rest of the field. Mark Martin's Valvoline, Cummins, and Xerox Ford Thunderbird out of Jack Roush Racing. We'll also carry our TNN onboard cameras today. There's the roof cam, and from the passenger floor, there's a look at Mark. And we have Elmo cam today. Elmo Langley driving the Pontiac Trans Am pace car. There's Elmo cam, and he's got some company for his 1 mile voyage around here, getting ready to turn him loose.
Mike, you can see how smooth this racetrack is out of the pace car there. The car is not moving at all. It's a great surface for racing.
Well, that pace car is in, buddy, and we're set to go for the first test of the concrete over 500 miles here at Dover Downs. How hungry is the monster today? We're about to find out. Green flag. Jeff Gordon wastes no time in jumping up to the high groove to hold Ward Burton at 2nd place.
You know, Mike, yesterday it was 2 lanes. You see, everybody's not having any problems. There's not any dust flying right now because there's no tire. They blew the track off this morning. A little bit there. That's dust where people cross the track on the back straightaway. But the racing surface is really fast. As Jeff, look at the Ward Burton taking the lead.
I tell you, Ward Burton was one of the guys in practice who was dominant all the time, and you know, Ward just doesn't realize he's going to have to take it easy all day today, and he's going to run hard, it seems like.
Ward Burton had a great qualifying run to start on the outside pole. He said, we don't even have a qualifying engine. Think if we'd had one. Sterling Marlin and John Andretti. Battle of turn.
Whoa, John Andretti's out.
And Ricky Craven is around. And everybody else is on the brakes. Oh, Bobby Hamilton, Rusty Wallace.
Rusty's not
in the fence. Mark Martin is that.
I see Dale Jarrett's car, it looks like, on
Terry
the middle
Labonte,
part.
look at this parking lot.
Wow.
It'd be easier to tell you who's not in this crash. There's Morgan Shepherd. Here's Terry Labonte.
Here's our Kellogg's car.
There's both our in-car cameras. You're looking at Mark Martin's car. There's Chuck Bound pulling away.
Yeah, Rusty run in the back of him. Rusty run into turn 3 on the outside and got way out of shape. Just caused a big wreck.
One of our, hearing one of the spots. You see the spotters from that shot of Mark's car up on the roof of the new Skybox Suites at turn 4 is where all the spotters are stationed. So everybody had a good look at what happened up there. There's Dale Jarrett's in that one. There are the spotters.
I haven't seen it back, but you know, it really looked like John Andretti just got loose.
Wow, look at the front end of the Robert Yates car.
Yep.
All right, there. The purple car is Andretti, 37.
That's Andretti there. He gets a little bit loose.
Touched.
Nobody touched. He's loose there. Back end's coming around. This starts a chain reaction behind him.
There's Ricky Craven, 41. Joe Nemechek, 87. I think Brett Bodine may sneak through there in 11.
Looked like maybe Rusty got into Mark.
In the aftermath. Well, Brett Bodine snuck right through there. Nice move. Here's a second look at it.
There's no touch
There's no
there.
contact. He just gets sideways right there. And on this racetrack, you're running so fast up off the corner, it's just hard. They make contact there. Ricky Craven hits him on the left front. That turns him sideways.
And then after this, it looks like Rusty may have got into Mark a little bit. And then I don't know why Dale Jarrett come flying up through there.
Look at Ricky Craven in that Kodiak car. He's going to bring that car around. I don't know how Brett Bodine misses him. He's going to save it and drive it away.
Wow. He'd like to say that's skill, but that's probably luck.
Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, one of the rest of the squad workers. Hard to believe so many good cars are out of this race early. This looks like one of those first lap Talladega crashes. Let's get an update on John Andretti. Randy?
John Andretti has been taken out of the Little Caesars Ford and put into the ambulance. I saw him get out, stand on his right leg, could not put weight on his left leg. He was grimacing severely. He is definitely hurt to some degree. They're going to take him to the infield care center, to say the least. That's the story on Andretti so far.
And Glenn Jarrett's with Mark Martin.
Well, Mark, awfully hard impact there. What happened?
I don't know. Some dummy just run into the back of us and wrecked us again. I could see the 37 car spinning up in front of me, and, you know, you couldn't go. Somebody from behind just peeled us in the back end, and it would have been all right, but that started the track to get blocked, and then everybody wrecked, you know. And I just don't understand why people can't ride around for a while here, you know. There's no safe place on the racetrack because somebody from behind will run over you running wide open.
Well, obviously you're okay. The car is severely damaged. Any chance of going back out?
I don't know. You know, we just, heck, I wanted to race today, you know. I'm just disappointed. We had a good car, and I wanted to race.
We're disappointed for you and hope to see you back out there.
I think to fully understand Mark Martin's frustration, you had to see yesterday's 200-mile Busch race here, because the exact same thing happened to Mark Martin yesterday. He got run into missing a crash in front of him. Now watch from Terry Labonte's car.
You can see Bobby Hamilton there waving to let him know there's trouble up here. He takes the inside.
Oh.
Terry had nowhere to go.
Now watch from Mark Martin's car.
Gotta watch that back. It looks like Rusty got loose. Mark went on by Rusty.
Yes.
And then the wreck started happening. Rusty run into the back of him.
That's what it looked like. You see Terry Labonte's car, Ricky Rudd's car. We haven't mentioned Ricky, and that's Lake Speed standing on the right side of your screen, whose car is also involved. Here's another look from the in-car from the roof cam.
The Rusty got loose.
Wow.
That's just how it feels, too.
The Monster Mile has a big appetite for race cars. What an appetizer it's gotten on the very first lap here. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dover Downs. We're under caution for this wreck on the very first lap that began when John Andretti's car got loose in turn 4. See if you can see how your favorite driver did or didn't make it through here. Craven, after going all the way around, makes a great save. Nemechek hard on the brakes. Brett Bodine sneaks through here. I don't know how, and already Dale Jarrett looked like he just went straight up the hill and into the wall. There's Michael Waltrip down to the bottom of the racetrack. He gets through. Jimmy Spencer around on the outside gets through. Hut Strickland. Andretti's car doesn't look to be damaged. And Ward Burton leads for the first time this season. Now there's Rusty Wallace's car. The hood is pushed back from having run into the back of Mark Martin there, but otherwise doesn't look too bad.
I was just thinking to say that car looks really good for what he was involved in.
It really does. You know, Rusty really looks like he'll have a chance at maybe winning his 4th.
Let's check with Glenn.
Well, guys, I'm in Ricky Rudd's pit. This is his crew chief, Billy Engel, and you're making all kinds of motions and signs to Ricky. A chance of getting back in there?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I was trying to get Ricky to tell me what damage he could see, if we had any fluids leaking, oil or water or whatever. I got the guys back in the garage area right now getting things ready, radiator, oil cooler. We thought maybe the rear end housing may be bent, but he said maybe just a wheel here. The housing may be okay. We're going to do all we can to get back out there and get some points for this Tide Ford.
All right, you got a pretty good vantage point from here, Billy. You're way down toward the corner. Could you see what started it?
I didn't see exactly what started. I know what got us. We were almost cleared of it, and the 32 come off of the bank in there and got into the side of us, and that kind of started a chain reaction.
Okay, they're getting ready to do a lot of work right now. We're going to let them get to it.
There were several chain reactions. Look at the spam can.
Well, Mike, I tell you, that from the first impact when Andretti come across, anybody that was in that wreck either got tagged from behind or just had nowhere to go. And if you made a move to the top part of the racetrack, Dale Jarrett was hit from behind. You could see that there were 3 cars directly behind him. One of them tagged him and turned him straight into the wall on the outside. So it's just like on a freeway. It's a chain reaction.
And look who started in 23rd place and missed it all.
Yeah, I tell you, Dale Earnhardt's the master at getting around things, and I wish we had an in-car camera to see how he actually did that.
I'd like to know.
Got
a little dent in the hood there.
A little dent.
Let's go to Randy. He's with Todd Bodine, who I didn't see Todd's car involved in that crash, but apparently it was. Oh, boy.
Unbelievable. Todd's car was one of the first ones to the Dover junkyard back here. Todd, how did you see it? What happened?
Well, the first thing I saw was Mark sideways, and I let up and got in the back of Dave Marcus and then slid up and got in the side of Dale Jarrett. Just, it's typical Dover. Somebody gets sideways, the track gets blocked up, nowhere to go, and everybody just piled in there.
Okay, that's Todd's story. He's going to go to work on this thing. He's a great fabricator and mechanic in his own right. He'll be back out there in a hurry. You can bet on that.
18 cars were involved in this first lap crash. The all-time record for NASCAR, 37 cars in one crash in a 1960 modified sportsman race at Daytona. 37 cars, but 18 were involved in this one. Jeff Gordon started today's race on the pole. An interesting story and kind of a hometown hero up in this area is his crew chief, Ray Evernham.
I've always been involved in racing, always. As a kid, I never wanted to be a fireman or an astronaut or a policeman or any of that. I wanted, I was crazy over cars. When I was 18 years old, I drove a race car at Wall Stadium, drove race cars full-time until 1983, built and drove my own cars. And in 1983, I got a big break. I got to go to work for Roger Penske and Jay Signori at the International Race of Champions. And right there is when I learned about the big business of auto racing,
Ray Evernham's driving career came to a halt in 1991 when he suffered a head injury in a grinding crash. After an attempted comeback, his destiny began to take shape as Ray got a glimpse of his future.
Andy Petrie, the crew chief on the Goodwrench Dale Earnhardt car, called me one day and he said, look, my buddy's going to start this 5-race Busch deal, and we got this Gordon kid, and how about coming down and running it for us? I said, well, all right. You know, I had seen Jeff on ESPN and watched him race, and you know, saw him on Saturday Night Thunder and all that, and I thought to myself, well, great. You know, I'll go and see if the kid is for real. And when that kid buckled up in that car, I knew what I'd gotten into because he was a keeper.
His success with Jeff Gordon has allowed Ray to settle into his crew chief role and satisfy his desire to win in a different way.
I'm finally starting to be able to see some of my dreams through his eyes, and I don't miss driving the race car at all as long as I'm with him. You know, there just seems to be, you know, if it's a magical mix, I don't know what it is, but I really enjoy being around him.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
Rusty Wallace still works on pit road as the field goes by. He has lost a lap in the pits. A penalty from NASCAR because he ran the stop sign at the end of pit road the last time he was in to make repairs. They were trying to keep him on the lead lap. So now they continue work as he has gone a lap down. Here's who was involved in this crash at turn 4 on the first lap. John Andretti, Todd Bodine, Bobby Hamilton, Terry Labonte, and Dave Marcus. Morgan Shepherd, Elton Sawyer, Dick Trickle, Lake Speed, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Hillen, Ricky Craven, Randy LaJoy, Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, Chuck Bound, Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin, and Dale Earnhardt. The largest Winston Cup crash ever, 24 cars in the 1990 Firecracker 400 at Daytona. They had a 24-car pileup, a 21-car pileup at Talladega in '73. Here's how they're running, those that are running. Ward Burton in the lead here after 12 laps.
Ernie, you remember that July 4th wreck in Daytona? I think I run into you 4 times in the same wreck.
Oh, that's just part of it, though.
In addition to our in-car cameras today, we also have communication with several of the drivers thanks to Racing Electronics. Now let's see if we can hook up with Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac. Michael, this is TNN. We've just been looking at replays. How did you miss all that?
Lucky guess, I think.
I guess it was. It was. Did that all start to unfold right in front of you, or did you have a little time to react?
Well, I saw John up high up of turn 2, and so, you know, this place is just terrible to try to race on. What you saw just then was what Mark was trying to say yesterday, but couldn't quite get it out. I saw John up on the outside, and I was just waiting for him to get turned or turned, and he did. And I thought it was just going to be a one-car deal. He's just going to spin up high, so I went low, but then some more of them got into it. So it's just real tough. All these guys that build these cars work so hard. And you know, there's a pretty good chance when you start this race, you're going to get wiped out at some point. It's real stressful for the drivers and the team. But the Pennzoil Pontiac escaped round 1. We'll just try to keep on going here. I want to say hello to everybody back in Owensboro, if you don't mind, Mike. And tell them to stop by our little shop there and see us.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Good luck the rest of the day. Michael Waltrip. Let's go down pit side and visit with Ricky Rudd, who's got some severe damage on his car.
Ricky, the biggest wreck I've ever seen. It wasted a lot of cars.
Well, it really did. It's a sad situation, you know, early in the race. I couldn't tell what triggered it, but, you know, this when you qualify poorly, that's what puts you in the middle of things like that, but I don't believe I've ever seen one that big.
Hey, Ricky, can you get back out there? Your car's not as badly damaged as some.
That's pretty bad. We got on the brakes. We missed the wreck, and then the wreck happened again behind us and shoved us into it. But it beat the tied Ford up pretty badly. We're just going to try to go out there and patch it up and ride it out for points.
Ricky, rumor has it 8 out of 9 cars back here just happen to be Fords.
Wow. 19 cars in all received some damage in that accident. Ricky Rudd started 29th today. 14 laps are complete. We're under caution. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to Dover Downs, where these aerial views are brought to you by our Steel Area Camera. Steel makers of a line of leaf blowers, trimmers, and the #1 selling brand of chainsaws worldwide. 15 laps are complete. There's a look at our eyeball in the sky. that brings you those pictures. And here's another one of our TNN cameras. That was the bumper cam on Terry Labonte's car. And I use the term was. That's accelerated depreciation right there.
Boy, that's advancement.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
think if a guy had been hooked to that camera.
Wow.
Wow. Look at the oil down the front straightaway here also.
Oh, yeah, something let loose. Here's Glenn.
Well, thanks, Mike. A lot of activity down here in Rusty Wallace's pit. He broke the left front shock. That's what I have in my hand here. You can see down at the far end. Broke off right here where it bolts to the suspension. Broke the Heim's joint right off. They had to do a lot of work. They had to line the thing back up. Rusty complains of a vibration in the car. They've been in several times to recheck things. They've done the most they could do right now. He's one of the fortunate ones. Randy Pemberton.
Well, one half of the Burton brothers still paces this pack. That's Ward. I'm back here with Jeff. Your Ford's damaged, but not badly damaged. Tough break.
Hey, it's really not bad. We just got a body and a radiator and oil cooler and stuff, so we'll get back out and race. Like you said a little while ago, you can still manage the top 10 at this place. Get out. It was only 15 laps gone, so we're going to work hard. Need to tell my wife, Kim, I'm okay. Keep looking because we're going to get out there and back racing.
Okay, good luck when you get back out there. Stay safe.
There's his brother Ward outpacing the field. First time he's led a Winston Cup race this year. Ward Burton started on the outside pole. In one lap, we'll go racing. Right behind Ward Burton, here it's the kiddie core. I mean, here's Ward Burton, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and then that old soldier, old bearded Jeff Bodine at age 45.
That old Jeff Bodine, you know. I tell you, you know, it was a lot of young people that had qualified really good up here today.
Mike, one thing, you know, Ward Burton come up here and tested a bunch up here. So did the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. So those two guys are up front because they did a lot of testing. And a lot of people didn't come up here because they thought the racetrack would change a lot in between the test and time to qualify.
Now catch this.
I live with fear every day.
But sometimes she lets me race.
Boy, I ought to have that one on.
You know where you can get that at? The No Fear place, you know?
I'm taking my dog out of this fight.
Yes. I wish I hadn't said it.
Well, the average speed so far, put your ticket book away, Officer Krupke, 49.9 miles per hour. The slowest ever Winston Cup race was in 1952. I'll tell you in a minute. First, here's Randy.
John Andretti's walked out of the infield care center. Got a little limp there. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little discouraged. You know, figured Dover's a long race, and get caught up in something early is just not any fun. And we needed a good run. It came our Little Caesars car and we qualified good, but you know, our day's over now.
As we get ready to go back green, do you know what happened?
Well, you know, I was running on the outside, and I don't know what. You got to kind of keep the guy down, tug low, and I don't know whether I didn't leave him enough room or what, but he got up in the backside of me.
Green flag.
John Andretti out of the race today.
You see Rusty Wallace making a move on the inside on Jeff Gordon there. He's trying to get that lap back that he lost just a little while ago. He makes that move. Rusty Wallace says he's one of the fastest cars here. I talked to him before the race starts, and you can see he's by Gordon and moving up on the lead.
He's going to have to catch Ward Burton, though. The Hardy's car is supercharged. He's flying. Now, Dave Marcus is a lap down. He was also involved in the accident, the Olive Garden Chevy, number 71.
Boy, that thing's an aerodynamic brick, but he's running well, Marcus says. I tell you, a lot of times you knock some sense into these cars. They seem to handle better after you wreck them.
Dave has run well here at Dover on many, many occasions.
That's Robert Presley in the 33 there on the outside. He's losing a lot of ground. You can see the outside groove is not the place to be in the corner right now.
You know, a lot of these drivers, you know, didn't have much practice on these tires. And definitely the tire is going to be something that's going to last a lot longer today and make it where the race is going to be able to run the full amount. So I think that a lot of people just haven't got their chassis set up exactly like they like.
But Ernie, isn't the rubber compound they're using on these tires harder than what they had here yesterday? So the cars, will they not grip the racetrack as well?
Right. I mean, they're not going to grip as well. And what they do is they have less rubber on the racetrack now, less on the tire. So that way it can dissipate the heat. They were generating too much heat. The track is so smooth that it doesn't, you know, wear the tire out.
Third place battle, Bobby Labonte 18, Jeff Bodine in 7, Sterling Marlin number 4.
I was just fixing to say Sterling Marlin's putting a lot of heat on Bodine right now from behind. This car is a rocket ship up out of the corner. Watch it gain right here as he comes up on the straightaway. That car is moving.
That's the Kodak Chevrolet, the Morgan McClure entry. Squeeze play down there in the corner.
Easy greasy. You got a long ways to slide today. I'm going to tell you, this is real early in the race to be doing that. But as you see, Sterling knows he has a very fast car. And he had the pass made, but Bodine dropped back just a little bit as he entered the corner.
Now watch Jimmy Spencer in that Camel Ford number 23 right behind Joe Nemechek. He tried to take the spot away last lap. Didn't have any success with the move right there.
Well, Mike, as you well know, Jimmy Spencer's got 2 speeds, wide open and then garage down there.
Oh, Bodine goes around. Didn't see any contact. If he can keep it near the wall,
man,
it may just be a one-car incident. It is.
Mike, he just got a little bit up out of the groove there, and around it come. He hit the inside wall pretty hard there, too.
Not nearly as hard as last year here. What a grinding crash that was. Roof flaps came up, did their job to keep that car on the ground. And again, Ward Burton will lead them to caution. Dave Marcus does not get a lap back from the leader. Look at Bodine's able to drive that car away. The left front's flat, but he's going to bring it around for service.
A lot of sheet metal damage, yeah.
Right front's flat.
Here's another look at it.
See Bodine there, back end just starts around.
He was right down on the, in the bottom. Just got loose.
Boy, when it gets around that far, you're just a passenger.
Yep.
Look at Michael Waltrip there.
Michael's been near about every wreck. look at the car in the back here, right behind Spencer Earnhardt. Obviously just buying his time.
Well, the hits keep on coming here at Dover. The monster still has a hunger for these race cars on the new concrete surface. 26 of 500 laps are completed.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by the makers of Prescription Strength Desonex, the Doctor's Cure.
Getting ready to go back to green. Of the 18 cars involved in that crash, 9 of them are out of the race, at least for now. We're about to go back to racing. Quickly, here's Glenn.
We're in Dale Earnhardt's pit. He chose to came in, changed all 4 tires. Richard, you've looked at them. What do they look like?
Well, they look real good right now, but we had a little work on the front end we needed to do, and we picked up a bad push, so we're working on that too.
You put those tires back on later on if you need them?
Yeah, we'll have them ready to put back on.
Okay, the work continues on Earnhardt's car. That nose damage that he had when he got through that wreck, he did tag somebody. As Richard said, made it pick up a push. You can bet they'll keep working on it. We're back to winning.
Ward Burton hauls them off into turn number 1. Again, Dave Marcus cannot get back on the lead lap. Rusty Wallace right behind is also a lap down from that first lap crash. Ward Burton leads this race over Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin, and Joe Nemechek.
Well, Ward Burton really getting around this racetrack. It's handling quite well.
You know, all weekend, you know, Ward's been one of the guys that when he unloaded off the truck, he was 3 or 4 tenths quicker than everybody. And, you know, Jeff Gordon ended up with the pole, but Ward Burton was definitely tough.
Mike, that's the argument on the wind tunnel right there. Look at Dave Marcus in 3rd. That's the ugliest thing you ever wanted to look at. It's just flying down the racetrack.
I remember when Earnhardt tore off the whole nose at Bristol the first race. And he ended up getting a lap back. So, you know, I don't know about this aerodynamics, if it's meaning that much on certain racetracks.
We'll see. Here's Glenn.
Well, thanks, Mike. Talking about how well Ward Burton is running, he suffers from asthma. He had an asthma attack last night, pretty severe one, so he took a shot when he got to the racetrack this morning. Slept most of the morning except during the driver's meeting. Now he says he's A-OK. He didn't choose to come in that time. Car's just a little bit loose, but he said it looked like it was better than most, so they're going to stay out.
And it looks like Jeff Gordon is slowly reeling him in.
Jeff has a lot of patience. He won't get up there, you know, and put a lot of heat on him until he knows his car is working well. They were making sure the race surface was ready to really start running in the corner as hard as he needs to. He's moving up on Ward Burton now, though.
Just about 3 car lengths separate the 2 leaders. They have a good gap back to Bobby Labonte and 2 lap cars in between. The cars in the garage area. John Andretti, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Elton Sawyer, Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte, Bobby Hillen, Todd Bodine, and Lake Speed are in the garage as a result of that opening lap incident.
Well, that's how, I mean, right now, that was a big wreck, but there's a bunch of good race cars out there. I mean, right behind this front group right here, we're having a real run right now. Rusty Wallace is working all over the back of Dave Marcus. He got on the inside there, but can't make the move. Dale Marcus is really getting through there. Look at Rusty coming there. Bobby Labonte right behind him. Sterling Marlin.
Now remember, Wallace in number 2 and 71 Marcus are a lap down.
I tell you, it seemed like the instant we went to this new tire, this morning they had a 30-minute practice, and I think all the cars were allowed to run like 5 laps or something. But I noticed instantly that all the cars were maybe pushing in the middle of the corner. I'm not so sure if it was a push or not, but it was a deal where all the cars were going up in the middle, and you know, our car ended up seeming, you know, somewhat one of the cars that was down on the bottom as far as the 28 car. But I noticed Jeff Gordon right now, his car seems to be going up in the middle of the corner, whether he's not turning the wheel very much or it may be pushing.
There has been a report that Jeff Gordon's complaining that his car is too tight, is pushing out just in the center corner, just like you said, Ernie.
And look at the difference. He was just 2 car lengths behind Ward Burton as you watch the battle between Greg Sachs and the Bobby Allison number 12 of Derek Cope, and Kyle Petty getting right in there.
Yeah, Kyle stuck that nose in there. He checked up. Oh, they make a little contact there. That was a good move on Greg Sachs' part. That could have been another big wreck if he hadn't caught her back as quick as he did.
Felix Sabates is owner or co-owner of both those cars.
Yeah, that we have seen team cars take each other out before.
We've seen brothers take each other out.
Kyle Petty completes the pass on Sachs. Here comes Greg right back under him. That's the Earnhardt move. Pass me, pass you. And Ted Musgrave right with him. Give a call to Musgrave in the Family Channel Ford number 16. He is 5th in the Winston Cup point standings.
Schrader started dead last, and he's moving up. A little contact with Morgan Shepherd there.
Morgan moved up.
This is a full contact sport.
Oh, indeed.
Morgan moved up. Wasn't quite clear there.
Yeah.
Whoa, Mike Wallace. Look out, Morgan. Whoa, baby, hold it.
He's just going to save it.
I think when he moved, is it possible when he moved up on Schrader that he cut a tire?
Could have been.
I don't know. He's still wobbling a little bit. He's thinking he has a flat tire, whether he does or not. Yeah, he's got something wrong.
Right rear?
Right rear is definitely flat. I can see it.
Yeah, that could have happened right with Schrader, because it could have got right in that left front.
Let's show you that again. As Shepherd makes the pass.
Oh, he's sideways there.
I'm sorry, that's long after.
We've got that after, half lap after.
Yep.
Now you talk about driving, now that's driving. Most
Morgan
people would have backed
job.
that baby right in the wall. Now he's congratulating himself right now, Mike.
Yeah, we really need a look of
the contact
half lap before that.
Yeah.
You can
really
see the right rear as he's going in the pits here. It's definitely flat.
Shepherd will pit. Caution is out. There is a bit of the tire from Morgan Shepherd's car, and that is the reason for the caution. Now here's the contact. We're going to watch 21. That's Shepherd on the inside.
Okay, it looks like he's just coming up on Schrader right there. That was behind the tire.
Just smoked a little bit. That nose could stick out far enough.
Well, there's the mark on the right rear. Yeah, it's right on the tire.
Right at the tire.
Yeah.
So Shepherd makes a pit stop, comes back out. Chuck Bound is back in the race with what's left of the Active Motorsports Chevrolet.
So it looks like it's like all the leaders are probably pit right now. You know, just I think everybody's going to want to check these tires out, and they'll have them to put on later.
Boy, every crew member standing on the wall now, waiting on the car to get here.
Yeah.
And here they come.
We're on lap 43, so yeah, Jeff Gordon.
Now, Rusty Wallace will stay out on the racetrack, which will put him on the tail end of the lead lap. And I reported Dave Marcus is a lap down. He has actually lost 7 laps making repairs from that first lap crash. On pit road, in Ward Burton's pit, Glenn Jarrett.
And the crew is going to change all 4 tires. We'll get a good look at how they look right now. And also, I imagine they're going to try to tighten it up. As I said, he's just a little bit loose. Jeff Gordon, on the other hand, is on the pit right in front of Ward. They're going to try to loosen him up. He's a little bit tight. So, funny thing, when Ward was getting ready to come in, he radioed the crew chief, said, well, what are we going to do? We're going to come in? And the crew chief said, yes, and follow everybody else. Ward said, hey, man, I'm leading the race. I need nobody to follow. Jeff Gordon had a great pit stop, beat him out. Ward looks like he'll get out third.
Thanks, Glenn. He is coming out third in line after those pit stops. Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton. The oldest of those 3 drivers is 31. There's Earnhardt coming back out after his stop. Let's check with Randy.
Well, guys, I've been back in the garage here watching the progress of some of these cars. Came back out to watch Earnhardt's last pit stop. It was 4 tires. They took a half a rubber out of the right front. They took all the tape off of the front grille. His water temp was up to about 240, so there is a little concern not only for handling in here in Earnhardt's pit. Glenn Jarrett, you got a story on tires?
Yeah, thanks, Randy. These are the tires that just came off Ward Burton's Hardy Chevrolet. This is the right rear. Still good tread left on this tire. They can use it again. Move on over. These are the left sides. They didn't expect any problem. There are none. The big concern from yesterday was the right front. They blistered. There is no blister on the tire. These tires look to be in good shape. I imagine that they're going to air them up, get them ready to go back on the car.
That's good news, and I'll tell you, a call to Leo Mel and the folks at Goodyear for taking a very bold step, withdrawing the tires they've brought to this track to run, bringing in a whole new set of tires this morning for the teams to test and run in this race. We are 45 laps complete. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Pep Boys Automotive Super Center.
47 laps complete here at Dover Downs. We're under the 3rd caution of the day. This for tire debris from Morgan Shepherd's Citgo Ford. The slowest Winston Cup race in history. 1952 on a badly rutted half-mile dirt track at Wilson, North Carolina. Herb Thomas in a 100-mile race averaged 35.3 miles per hour.
We have a challenge for it right here if this keeps up.
Sure. I'm not sure. Here's your Napa running order. Napa, we keep America running. Here's how they're running at 47 laps. And the light is out atop the pace car. You see Elmo Cam up there on the light bar. Let's check with Randy on some of the lead cars' pit stops.
Well, I can give you an update on one in particular, and that was Jeff Gordon. You guys documented the fact that he was tight early on, and right before that pit stop, complained a bit about it being tight. All of a sudden, the car just wanted to come around on him. It was very loose. The rear end was very, very loose on him, and they came in, changed some tires. He's back out there. They have no idea right now about the chassis, but they're working on it.
Okay. Look at Ward Burton, who started outside pole and has led most of the first part of this race.
This is going to be an interesting start with Rusty Wallace under Jeff Gordon there. He wants that lap back badly.
Rusty Wallace has won the last 3 races in a row here at Dover.
That don't look like it's going to be much of a contest. Bobby Labonte looking for a chance to get under Gordon there. Rusty's on the tail end of the lead lap right now.
And, of course, the caution flag will bring him all the way around. If you joined us late here live on TNN, a first lap crash involved 19 cars and sent 8 of them to the garage area, including many of the contenders and our 2 in-car cameras. Well, there's Gordon right back by. Gordon and Bobby Labonte got together. Jimmy Spencer and Joe Nemechek move up. Close call.
Well, they just got in there, and I think Ward Burton's car got a little bit loose, and he just got in the side of Bobby Labonte. That could have been another wreck.
Bobby Labonte coming off a great win at Charlotte last weekend. Loose a few spots there. Labonte does. Here's Glenn.
Well, I talked to Jimmy Makar, his crew chief, guys, and I asked him how Bobby's car was. He said it's pretty good depending on where he drove it on the racetrack. We're hearing guys complain loose and then push. Bobby has told Jimmy that depending on where he drives on the racetrack, some places it's tight, some places it's loose. So they're going to fight that all day. Ray Evernham told Jeff Gordon about that situation. Hey, man, it's going to be a long day. Just do the best you can.
Best you can do right now is lead this race and move away to a 5-car length lead. There's Sterling Marlin, number 4, battling Bobby Labonte. Bill Elliott, back in red this week, comes back in the picture. Earnhardt and Brett Bodine battle, and right behind them, Michael Waltrip just climbed up the track and dropped 4 spots last lap by.
Well, Mike, what they're doing right now is moving around on the racetrack, finding the best groove, and every once in a while you'll put it up there and you go, uh-oh, that's the wrong one. I don't want this anymore.
Earnhardt was side by side with the Lowe's Ford of Brett Bodine a moment ago. Brett qualified 10th for this race. And Earnhardt has come from 23rd starting spot. His first day qualifying run would have put him in provisional land.
Look at Michael Waltrip, though. He's running very, very well. He's making the move on Earnhardt as they go down the corner. Nope. He closed the door as they started in the corner, but Michael's car is really running well right now.
This is for 13th place. Greg Sachs just behind, and Robert Presley making his first Winston Cup start here.
Still looks like Earnhardt's having some handling trouble. It looks like he's got a real bad push in the middle of the corner, and that's enabling Michael to basically pick the throttle back up earlier and try to get under him.
Now they're telling Michael he's got Greg Sachs alongside, so he can't sweep up the corner. Now they get single file again.
They won't stay out there very long. You can see Michael, when they started accelerating off the corner, he pulled him a couple car lengths on that bottom lane. Earnhardt's car is way off coming out of the corner. Michael's eating him alive.
Here's Jimmy Spencer leading Joe Nemechek, Ward Burton, and Sterling Marlin's going to move underneath as Burton climbs the hill, and Bobby Labonte's right back to him.
It looks like Sterling Marlin's got the fastest race car on the racetrack. When he gets to a race car, he just pulls under him and goes.
From second on back, this battle's for 6th.
I have to tell you, if Sterling Marlin gets in the lead, I'll have to tell you a little story about me and Tony Glover standing in the garage here a little while ago.
Okay. Well, right now, this man, Jeff Gordon, is the leader. Jimmy Spencer's moved up to second. Joe Nemechek third. Sterling Marlin is fourth. We'll be right back. Jeff Gordon has a bit of daylight between himself and the second place car. He also has Rusty Wallace, who is one lap down, and there's Ricky Rudd, who is back on track with his tied Ford. Now there's Jimmy Spencer, and Sterling Marlin is running Spencer down. Jeff Gordon has a 2-second lead. Jimmy Spencer having a good run here in the early going. You know, we broadcast the Winston Select a couple of weeks ago Saturday night. You read all these comments in the paper. I'm not taking sides, and I don't understand it. But why do they say Dale Earnhardt is really aggressive, and then in the same breath they say Jimmy Spencer's an idiot? Because watching that race, things didn't look a whole lot different between those two cars that night.
Boy, it's like telling a joke. Some can tell them, some can't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a preference. A lot of people decide the guy's bad. Jimmy Spencer's one of the best liked people that are around racing. I don't understand that. But, you know, if he's around the wreck, everybody goes, well, Jimmy Spencer caused it. And it's not fair to blame him for everything that happens on the racetrack.
Both he and Earnhardt have tremendously aggressive driving styles on the racetrack. And the only thing anybody could point to as a difference between them is Earnhardt wins a lot. And on this level, Spencer yet hasn't.
He's won 2 times.
A lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. That's right. Won twice last year for Junior Johnson, Daytona, and Talladega. This man won the Daytona 500 the last 2 years in a row. Sterling Marlin has 2 wins on the season and is third in the Winston Cup points. Second place point man Mark Martin. His car is still in the garage area.
Boy, you see the 4 car there of Sterling Marlin. He has won a race that you have to be really tough to win, and that's Darlington. So he comes in here, you know, this morning he said the old car is not doing like I want it to do. It's got a lot of straightaway speed, this, that, and the other. He's one of the fastest cars out there, so he must be like old Harry Gant. If he could find something wrong with the carburetor, he's going to be tough that day.
Harry always had something wrong with the carburetor, didn't he? Harry always did.
Here's your 4th place race. Joe Nemechek in the Burger King 87. Bobby Labonte, the Interstate Batteries number 18, that sat at Victory Lane last week at Charlotte under the lights.
Well, Bobby Labonte is setting a pace pretty much like he did in the World 600 last week. He's sitting back here. He's not really racing that hard. He's biding his time. I'm sure he's waiting to see what he needs to do to this car to make it really good for later on in the race.
Yeah, I talked to Bobby right before I came up here, and Bobby said his car was really good, but he just didn't know about the tires and what was going to happen. And he said, you know, he says, I'm going to just try to bide my time, and hopefully it'll come through in the end.
Now they had Bill Elliott's car painted black last week at Charlotte. I think he just got passed here by the real Batmobile.
I'm going to tell you, I'd have painted it back red if I'd hit the wall hard as he did in Charlotte. That thing really crashed in hard. You know, Bill Elliott is such a great race car driver. You just go back a couple of years, that was the most dominant car on the racetrack. He's rebuilding the team, and it just takes a little time to get everything back in harmony again.
He'll be okay. Right behind the 26 of Hut Strickland, Kenny Bernstein apparently has announced that team is for sale at the end of the season. Bernstein wants to devote a little more time around home and to some other pursuits. It was rumored that Dale Jarrett would buy that team. In the paper this week, Dale said that's not so.
I don't know who will get it, but those guys really work hard. That's a great race car, and they want to get up front. Charlotte, they were up front quite a bit.
Up front, Jeff Gordon passes Dick Trickle in the Quality Care Ford. There's a look at Jeff Gordon's pit. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dover Downs. I'm Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvan. Watching Kyle Petty move his way up through the field. He's put the Coors Light Pontiac well up in the top 10. Mark him at 6th position right now. There is his progress through this race. Kyle began the day deep in the field, 37th.
Yeah, that's Bobby Labonte just in front of him there. He was almost half a lap back just about 15 laps ago. And you talk about a guy that's on the move. That car is right on the bottom of the racetrack. Coming out of the corner is flawless.
Let's check with Glenn.
Well, Mike, while Kyle Petty was coming forward, Ward Burton, unfortunately, was going backwards in the Hardy Chevrolet. Remember, we told you it was a little loose? Well, they adjusted it. It made it too tight. And remember, this is the first time that the teams have had an opportunity to go out there under race conditions on sticker tires. They started the race with the tires they practiced on this morning. A lot of them made adjustments that aren't working. Those sticker tires reacted a little bit differently than the Scuffs did. So, as in Ward Burton's case, Jeff Gordon reporting a little loose. They all got a little more work to do.
Thanks, Glenn. These cars are 4 seconds behind the leader that you're watching right now. Bobby Labonte looks for the move on Nemechek. Kyle Petty outside and right around him.
That's a power move there. That takes the wind right out of your sail when a guy passes you going in the corner on the outside like that. Kyle Petty's car is really hooked up. This answers a lot of questions. You know, if he makes the race, he's a contender to win. The thing they've had the most trouble with this year is qualifying. He runs very well in the race.
Todd Bodine, Ricky Rudd, Chuck Bown, and Lake Speed have returned to the race, as has Jeff Burton and Jeff Bodine of the cars involved in the early incidents here. But many laps down. There are right now 24 cars on the lead lap of the 42 that started the day. 6 still sit in the garage area.
Boy, you see some of these cars running around there. That car with the nose knocked off of it with Ricky Rudd. I mean, they fixed that car. I didn't think it'd even see any more action today. Look at Kyle Petty moving up on.
Now that's Joe Nemechek.
Yeah,
right
Joe
there.
Nemechek. I had my hamburger in my hand. I was waiting a second like he does on that commercial.
Boy, look at how well Kyle's car sticks right and stays right on the bottom.
Well, this is a racetrack if you're handling, or Ernie can tell you, if you're handling, this is a lot of fun. But if you're not, boy, it aggravates you. Look at Ricky Craven go sideways out of the way there.
Oh, he looks sideways. I tell you, you know, this is a racetrack. If you're handling it, it's a lot of fun. But I tell you, it's a long day if you're not handling it. There's a lot of cars that aren't handling good. You know, a lot of that is to pertain to the chassis setups that people may have now.
This battle for 4th place. Joe Nemechek, Kyle Petty in 42. Bobby Labonte right behind them.
Kyle's making most of the time on Nemechek getting in the corner, but I say Nemechek from the center of the corner out is probably just as strong as Kyle is.
And just back of them, Rick Mast is coming into the picture. In the Richard Jackson Skoll Ford. There's a look at Mast. He's been gaining ground on this group. He is the 7th place car.
And it looks like Rusty Wallace is running the leader down in Jeff Gordon. So, you know, Rusty's obviously, he stayed out on his tires. And, you know, now Jeff Gordon is backing up to Rusty.
Here's a look at Rick Mast's day. He started this race 17th. Of course, a lot of cars that started ahead of him were involved in that wreck, but he's been in the top 10 the rest of the day so far. Long way to go here at Dover Downs. 83 of 500 laps are completed.
Do tell. And I'm looking at Rick Mass there. He's moving up on Bobby Labonte, and he's been running very well. He's come up through the traffic with Kyle Petty. He got a little off pace there trying to get over the lap traffic a while ago, but this car is hooked up. I'd love to see him run well today. He deserves it. That's a good race car driver there.
I think we will. There's a look at Mast and the Ford as they lap past Dave Marcus. Jeff Gordon leads here at Dover Downs. Jimmy Spencer in second place. Sterling Marlin holds third, and Joe Nemechek leads that fourth place battle.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Allied Signals Autolite Sport Plugs. Guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go.
Welcome back to Dover. Well, they keep on coming back, kind of like Freddie Krueger. Mark Martin's back from the garage, and he's on the racetrack. He is laps down. And here is Terry Labonte. And you don't see much sheet metal on the front of that Kellogg's box. I think you don't see any. But Labonte's going back into the race. Martin came in here second in Winston Cup points. Terry Labonte was sixth of the point standings, and you don't run any laps, you don't get many points. So they're back out there. The leader has completed 90 laps. Terry Labonte is 87 laps down. Mark Martin is 86 laps down. But they're out there and hope to go the day. 10th place battle here.
Yeah, Hut Strickland just went by Musgraves there for the 10th place, and he's really hooked up pretty good. He's coming up through traffic quite well in the Quaker State car there, number 26.
I tell you, a lot of the drivers are letting the other guys, if they catch them, they're letting them go, because that's the thing.
Good point, Ernie. You're not seeing a whole lot of side-by-side 2 and 3 lap battles here.
No, I mean, and I think we're going to get that later. It looks like Rusty Wallace is really trying to get his lap back, but we're going to start seeing that some later. And here comes Rusty down on the inside.
Here comes that side-by-side battle. You see Jeff Gordon just roll out of the throttle. He says, I don't believe I want that outside groove that bad, so he just rolls out of it. Rusty's back in the lead lap now.
Well, Rusty ran him down about 15, 20 car lengths, so Jeff knows he was faster, and it's just a matter of time. Maybe Jeff will get back going faster. And here's Dale Earnhardt. He's 13th right now, and still coming towards the front.
Battling Ricky Craven, and Craven is 1 lap down. Looks a little bit like a road race where somebody has the line on you going into the corner. You give them the entry to the corner and then tack right onto them instead of battling them all the way through it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And you know, probably that's what we should have had at the very beginning of the race, but they threw the green, so, it changes.
Everybody had a plan until they waved the flag.
Boy, I tell you, there's a lot of crippled cars out there. You see the noses beat up on these cars like that. That either sometimes will give you a little more downforce on the front, or maybe it makes the front end lift a little bit. Then you have to adjust the chassis. There's a few people like Ricky Craven had a very fast car. He's got some damage to the nose of the car, and he cannot hold his car on the bottom of the racetrack, and he's getting passed over by everybody right now.
So Wallace has passed Jeff Gordon to get back on the lead lap as they move underneath the TIC Financial Ford of Kenny Wallace.
Wallace went underneath the Wallace. There we go.
Well, there are 3 of them in the race. It's bound to happen sooner or later. Right.
Boy, that's 2 evenly matched cars there. If that would have been a race for the lead, it would have been a bit tougher to take.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Wallace has won the last 3 Winston Cup races here at Dover.
You know, they reported he was having a lot of vibrations in the 2 car there, Rusty Wallace, a while ago. Don't look like anything's vibrating right now. A lot of times you'll get a mismatch and maybe a right rear that's not balanced just right, and it'll vibrate and it'll aggravate you a little bit. But he seems to be back under full speed now.
Now, the lap Wallace lost was a result of a penalty for running the stop sign at the end of pit road, trying to make repairs after that first lap crash. Michael Waltrip in number 30, the Pennzoil Pontiac, and rookie Robert Presley in number 33, the Skoll Chevrolet. Let's go back down to the garage area where Glenn continues to mop up after that first lap crash.
Well, this is one guy I certainly didn't want to have to be looking for. My brother Dale took a tremendously hard hit into the 4th turn wall. First of all, Dale, are you okay?
Yeah, I'll be okay. A little sore, but you know, it's a bad day.
You know what happened? Who hit you?
I don't. Whoever was behind me. I saw the wreck happen in front of us, and waved and tried to get slowed down, but whoever it was behind me didn't get slowed down. Hit me about 3 times and knocked me into the outside wall head on then. Just killed the car. I hate it for these guys. And I think we would have had a good car. We had a good practice this morning, so just bad things keep happening.
Well, I'm certainly glad to see that he's okay. And by the way, Steve Clark, Dale's pilot, if you're watching our show on TNN, go to the airplane. Dale would like to go home.
Mike Wallace now moves underneath Bill Elliott. Picks up a spot in the Heilig-Myers Ford. Here comes Elliott right back to his bumper as we make 100 laps around Dover Downs.
Well, that 90 car is Junie Donlevy's car, and he has won here before with Jody Ridley. So, it'd be great to see these guys do well. If anybody's well-liked in the garage area, it's the boys on this 90 car team.
And Mike Wallace had a great run yesterday in the GM Goodwrench Delco Battery 200 Busch race. Here's the third place car, Sterling Marlin. Just out ahead of Joe Nemechek, Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte, and Rick Mast. There's the rest of that pack. They have spread out just a little bit.
See Kyle Petty moving in there. He's trying to catch up to Burton or Nemechek. I don't know why I'm trying to say this is Burton. That's Nemechek in the 87 car. I should know that. That's my dad's old number.
They move past Chuck Bound, damaged car. And Ricky Rudd back onto the pit road.
Ricky's car doesn't really look like it has much left on it.
No, it looks a lot like
all the
Terry Labonte's.
Yeah. A lot of them like that.
Now you can see 2 different lines through there. Nemechek's going in about a car length higher than Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty is very, very dominant on mile racetracks. He's won at Rockingham. He's been very dominant here. He's got this race car working well. Watch him go. He's on the blacktop there with the left front.
How long did it take before somebody tried putting the left front down on the blacktop?
They were doing that in practice a little bit, but not much. But it's something that we'll learn more and more about this racetrack as the days go on. We're going to learn a lot more in the 400 laps we got left.
I think all the response though to the new pavement, rather concrete, the new surface, have been positive. It was very abrasive when they first laid the concrete. They took a 2-ton donut of concrete and dragged it around this track time after time to try to wear down some of the abrasion and have a real good raceable surface here. And all that work seems to have paid off. 106 laps are complete here at Dover Downs. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
112 laps complete, and we're just starting to see green flag pit stops. Bill Elliott's been in. Our point standings are brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. Here's how the points were coming into Dover. Dale Earnhardt led Mark Martin, who spent a lot of time in the garage already today. Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, the race leader, Ted Musgrave. Then Terry Labonte, who also was in that crash, Bobby Hamilton, Rusty Wallace, Bobby Labonte, and Michael Waltrip. Top 10 in the Winston Cup standings after 11 races. Bill Elliott got 4 tires and a chassis adjustment. Robert Presley just on pit road. If you have questions for us here in the booth or to pass along down to pit road, something you'd like to know about the running of this race, we invite you to participate in our telecast. Call toll-free 1-800-451-7331. Operators in Nashville will take down your question, relay it here to the booth, and we'll try to get as many of them answered as possible during the running of today's telecast. TNN, you can't get any closer, and this is just one more way. 1-800-451-7331. That number will be in operation throughout our entire telecast today.
Boy, you could see Nemechek, he does not want to give his position up, but look at Kyle Petty on the bottom side. He takes the position away.
4th place.
Nemechek kind of come down on him on the back straightaway to protect that entry into the corner, and then he got in the corner a little hard and moved up, and of course Kyle took advantage of it.
Hut Strickland is on pit road in the Kenny Bernstein Quaker State number 26, 17.4 seconds.
Really good stop. That team's really starting to come on, and Hut's been really doing a good job for them. And you hate to see any team have to be for sale, but Kenny Bernstein obviously wants to do something a little bit different, and it's a great race team, and they got some good people there.
Mike, as you can see, Jeff Gordon put Rusty back in. He's a lap down again. He's working on Mike Wallace right now, trying to get by him.
Mike Wallace in car number 90 is 19th. 19 cars on the lead lap as Kenny Wallace makes a stop. And we're about a dozen or so laps away from the leaders coming onto pit road. It'll be the first green flag pit stop of the day.
Now you got to remember, Rusty did not pit when the leaders did, so he's got a lot more laps on his tires than, say, Jeff Gordon does.
That's true. Now look at Jeff Gordon's lead. There's Jeff Gordon. There's Jimmy Spencer, that yellow car. Pretty sizable advantage. Third place changing hands. Move Kyle Petty up to third. He's past Sterling Marlin. There they are.
Well, I tell you, it don't take long. If the car's handling here, it makes it look easy. He got right by Sterling. I'm sure Sterling was looking in the mirror. He gained up on him quick, and this early in the race, you don't fight for position like you do later on in the race.
These cars, these teams, may want to look at the stopwatch because the cars that have gotten new tires are flying. Bill Elliott is a rocket, and there is Hut Strickland right out ahead of Jeff Gordon on new tires.
We'll get to see because it looks like Jeff Gordon's still running pretty darn good there.
You can see Mike Wallace going into turn 3, waving his hand to try to make sure that Hut Strickland knew that he was going to be slower than he was.
So Strickland moves on past. Gordon's going to take a little more time getting around Mike Wallace. He has yet to make his first green flag pit stop.
Mike Wallace is not going to give up that position very, very quick.
Welcome back to Dover Downs, Delaware. Green flag pit stops for the leaders are coming up. Jeff Gordon leads this race. Jimmy Spencer is second. Kyle Petty now third. Here's Randy.
Yeah, we checked in with Ray Evernham of the 24 car, and prior to that, they're going to come in about 4 laps, by the way, and pit this car. They were pushing going into the corners and loose coming off. Now, he's still dominating this race, but Ray Evernham says, we're having trouble trying to decide which end of the car to fix because we're not sure we can dial them both in for him. So we'll see what they do in this next pit stop. I'm assured that they'll make a tire pressure adjustment at least.
He's getting a little irritated perhaps with Mike Wallace. As you look at your Napa running order, Napa, we keep America running. There was contact while we were away between these two cars. Now Mike Wallace is trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap, but look at Jimmy Spencer in 23 catching the leader.
Wow, there's a little contact there. They made just a little bit of contact. Mike Wallace goes a lap down. Now just behind him is Jimmy Spencer. You see his nose come into play here, and just behind him is Kyle Petty. This is a good race now.
Battle for the lead at lap 127. Each of these cars will have to pit soon for tires. And Mike Wallace goes a lap down.
Well, Kyle Petty's running a racetrack that nobody else has been on yet. The left side of that car is going through the corner right on the bottom. I tell you, he's got a lot of good racetrack down there. You see him gain on Spencer coming up out of the corner.
But look now at Jeff Gordon is pulled away once again. Bobby Hamilton makes a pit stop. Gets 4 tires, comes back out in the STP Pontiac. Here's the contact that occurred between Jeff Gordon and Mike Wallace.
Eek. Not bad.
No.
If anybody's going to ever hit me, I want him to do it just like that.
Yeah.
Here comes Kyle Petty making a move on Jimmy Spencer. Take over second place.
Jimmy Spencer looking at a pit stop in just 2 laps, and Kyle Petty goes on by. Steve Grissom, the Meineke car, Dave Marcus, Chuck Bound, Ted Musgrave, Rick Mast, and Ward Burton all on pit road right now.
I tell you, to fill you in a little bit on the tire situation, I talked to Larry McReynolds right before the race, and I asked him, I said, well, how many sets of tires do you guys actually have? And they had 6 sets of tires. They were going to have 5 sets of tires in the pits and 1 set on the car. And if anybody had brought tires, that NASCAR would have to impound the tires, and they would divvy up the tires when somebody could do that. Here go Glenn.
And Jimmy Spencer has brought the smoke and goes in, smoking the tires as he came in, slid them to a stop here. Travis Carter, the crew chief, said they will not make a chassis adjustment. And Spencer liked it just the way it was. And if that's the way he likes it, they ain't going to touch it. It will be a 4-tire change, gasoline, that's all. He's down and away. Good stop, 20.3 seconds.
Jimmy Spencer out and away. And we still await Kyle Petty, and Jeff Gordon is on pit road, coming down to the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. You think 35 seems slow out on the street? Try 35 on pit road. Here's Randy.
Well, Ray Evernham and Tony Glover have been in conversation for the last 20 laps trying to decide when they're going to pit and whether or not they're going to pit together. It looks as if they are. No, the 4 car does not come with a 24. Ray Evernham's crew goes to work on the right side. The 4 car will come in the next lap. Left side lug nuts being loosened on the 24 car. Second can of fuel already in. An excellent pit stop. Jeff Gordon raises the visor, gives the guys a look, takes a full drink. He's down and away. They have 3 sets of sticker tires left now in this pit. A little over 17 seconds for Gordon.
Kyle Petty on pit road, now getting a 4-tire change. Left side's complete. Good stop for Kyle. They nailed it. You saw the exclamation by one of the crew members. He's back out. Sterling Marlin and Michael Waltrip, Todd Bodine, Greg Sachs, Joe Nemechek, Bobby Labonte, and Darrell Waltrip all on pit road.
Mike, I tell you the honest truth, the 42 of Kyle Petty come in the same time as Jeff Gordon, stopping way up at this end of the pit road. He's going to go down the lap almost by making that stop and stopping way back up the pit road. So there is a definite advantage of taking the pits down the far end.
And Schrader also in. There's the A1 Stakes Sauce pit stop time clock. A1 and A1 Bowl together, how stakes are done.
I don't think Kyle Petty's going a lap down. I think Kyle Petty's come out of the pits ahead of
Jeff
Gordon.
left way before him. You'll see in just a second. I'm pretty sure that.
But they didn't pit on the same lap. He came in 1 lap later. I think Kyle Petty's going to be in the lead.
We'll check that as Dale Earnhardt and Kenny Schrader make their pit stop. So does Greg Sachs. Here's Randy.
Dale Earnhardt is in. Still the heavy damage on the left side. They do nothing about that at this point. They finally did get that rubber out of the right front that they tried to get out on that last pit stop. These guys continuously work on the chassis. Left side tires going on. Andy Patriot works on the left front. Now Earnhardt down and away. An excellent stop. 18-3 for Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt back out after an 18-second stop.
You see more than I think you do, kid. I believe you're right. I think that Jeff Gordon made his pit stop a lap before Kyle. That's why he was back on the back straightaway when he started out of the pits here.
Yeah. Hey, I'm new to this, but with one eye I can, pretty much pick it up.
Morgan Shepherd is in. He was involved in that second caution flag of the day, or rather the third caution in lap 44. Kyle Petty leads this race over Jeff Gordon by a couple of car lengths. Jimmy Spencer now third after pit stop. Sterling Marlin is fourth. Fifth is Hut Strickland. Sixth is Bobby Labonte. Seventh, Joe Nemechek. Eighth is Derek Cope. We'll be right back. For information on Featherlight trailers, call 1-800-800-1230. Featherlight, official trailer of NASCAR. TNN Highway Transportation provided by Cedar Ridge RV Center, Branchville, New Jersey, featuring Winnebago Motorhomes. Call 1-800-988-4884 to see why Cedar Ridge is the choice of champions. 143 laps complete. This man, Kyle Petty, leads the race here. Richard Petty drove the only Pontiac to win here at Dover Downs. 1984. It was Richard's 199th victory.
You know, they've changed the rules some to help the Pontiac, and I'm telling you right now, he is hooked up. He's making this thing look pretty easy right now.
There's your second place car, number 24, Jeff Gordon, the DuPont Chevrolet. Here's the interval from Kyle Petty back to Jeff Gordon after the green flag pit stops. Third place is Sterling Marlin, and fourth place Jimmy Spencer. Fifth place Bobby Labonte. There's fourth place Spencer and Bobby Labonte right behind him, running in fifth. That's the way the top five settles in, and this race seems to have settled in. Let's check with Glenn.
Well, guys, one guy that is extremely glad to see this race settle in. I'm standing with Leo Mel with Goodyear. He is the worldwide manager of Goodyear's operations, and you've had a busy couple of days, but it looks like things have settled down, Leo.
Yeah, things look pretty good right now. We've had a lot of people working real hard the last 24 hours. We brought in 1,200 new tires, and they just ran 85 laps, so we're pretty happy.
Your tire changer guys had to get up pretty early this morning.
I'm sorry?
I said your tire changer guys had to get up pretty early.
Oh, yeah, they worked late last night, and they started at 4 o'clock this morning.
our hats are off to Goodyear. They did an excellent job in taking care of what could have been an extremely difficult situation for everybody in today's race. Great job.
Thanks, Glenn. Ward Burton has cut down a tire, went way up the hill in turn 4, managed to avoid the wall, and as you saw, limped the car around until he could get it back down to the track apron. Now he has to go a full lap before he can pit. Here.
Mike, there's some contact there because the tire is sticking way out from where it should be. The whole body's moved over to the left, so he did get in the wall pretty good.
5th place race here, buddy. Bobby Labonte now has Hut Strickland and Joe Nemechek running him down. Joe called from Massachusetts inquiring about the concrete surfacing here. They have laid a 6-inch deep layer of concrete, 6 inches thick. The cost of the concrete laying machine and the cost to resurface this track was over $2 million. It's the investment that Dennis McGlynn and Melvin Joseph and the folks here at Dover have put into resurfacing this track. And they do have the equipment to repair or resurface this or any other racetrack again here if necessary. But quite a bold initiative, and it looks like it's going to pay off with a really good raceable surface here at Dover Downs.
Well, it's a good racetrack, and you know, it's like anything new. When they first start out, the racetrack's going to get better as they race on it, and the surface is certainly a lot smoother than the old surface. So I think it's going to be okay.
I think the big thing is to touch on more what you're talking about, buddy, is 4 years from now, the track's not going to be coming up, you know, because what's usually happened is the pavement starts coming up and you don't get a good race on it. But now I think the track's going to be here for a long time.
Glenn Jarrett's made his way to Ward Burton's pit. Glenn, what happened to Ward's car?
Well, Mike, I'm on the way now. He radioed into the crew that something broke on the right front of the car. When he came down pit road, he didn't even stop. He went straight on into the garage area. We'll try to chase him down, find out exactly what did happen, but looks like some kind of suspension failure or something on the right front.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. There's a look at Ward Burton's car from our steel aerial camera. 152 laps complete. We're sneaking up on 1/3 distance here at Dover Downs. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by RCA, changing entertainment again.
Welcome back to Dover Downs. You saw heavy cloud cover there, but there is no threat of rain for the 500 miles here today. 4th place battle you're watching, Jimmy Spencer and Bobby Labonte. Let's get some updates from pit road. First to Randy.
Well, just to update you, in that early crash, Darrell Waltrip did get out of the car. Of course, we documented. There he is. Matter of fact, he's walking along the back of pit road now with a headset on. So Waltrip is out with those broken ribs. Jimmy Hensley is in. The Western Auto Chevy cruising around out there. Last look at the tires, folks. They look pretty good coming off of these cars. So the tires they don't seem to be a problem as of right now. Of course, there could possibly be a slight shortage of them. Glenn Jarrett, what do you got?
Well, Randy, while we were away, Jeff Bodine brought the Exide batteries Ford in for a routine stop, 4 tires and gas. Didn't see a chassis adjustment. A couple of other cars made stops, but all the fenders and doors are torn off of them, and I couldn't tell who they were.
Thanks, Glenn. Let's update 2 drivers we did not update on that first lap incident. Bobby Hillen, who is the new driver for U.S. Air and Jasper Engines in number 77. Hillen is okay, and they are trying to get his car back into the race. Elton Sawyer in the Hooters Ford was right in the middle of that melee. Elton was not injured. He is already on the way home. But the car done for the day. 4th place battle, Jimmy Spencer. This man, Bobby Labonte, last week's winner at Charlotte, and the 87 of Joe Nemechek. Battle for 4th, Hut Strickland about to join that group as Mark Martin makes a pit stop.
Well, Jimmy Spencer did not make a chassis adjustment on his race car on that pit stop. A lot of times that'll bite you. You need to really work on these things. You see Bobby Labonte moving in on him there. Spencer had already got up to 2nd place. Now he's starting to fall back just a little bit in the race.
Brian from South Dakota called in, wants to know why Rusty Wallace is a lap down. Rusty lost a lap on a penalty on pit road when, making repairs from the first lap crash, he ran the stop sign at the end of pit lane. He was stopped and penalized a lap. He got the lap back from Jeff Gordon on the racetrack, but no caution came out. And Gordon lapped him again, put him a lap down before they made pit stops or the caution. That's why Rusty is still 1 lap down, Brian. 163 laps complete. As you watch Bobby Labonte chase down Jimmy Spencer after winning his first Winston Cup race last week at Charlotte. We asked Bobby if he was still up on cloud 9.
Oh yeah, I believe so. You know, it was awful exciting. And I mean, you know, you only win your first Winston Cup race one time, but at the same time, you know, we've just taken this week in stride and gone, you know, worked on this next week. So it's been a lot of fun, I tell you. It really does mean a lot when you get back to, kind of felt more of it when I got back to the racetrack here this week than I did throughout the week.
Pretty happy fellow, though. You remember your first win, buddy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that far back, Mike. It's just been...
That wasn't what I meant. I guess I should have said, what do you remember about your first win?
I have been hit in the head, but I do remember everything, too. So, no, I tell you, that was probably... I won my first race at Charlotte, and it was the National 500 at that time. And
What year was that, buddy?
I'm not going to tell you, Ernie. But I will tell you this, it's a feeling you'll never feel again, because I've won bigger races and things like that, but that first one is just really special.
That long ago?
1967.
Thanks, Ernie. I knew you would help me out, pal.
Snapped a 10-race winning streak by Richard Petty when Buddy Baker went to Victory Lane at Charlotte in 1967.
And Ernie was in what, grammar school?
I had raced my very first race in a go-kart. 1967.
There you have it.
I tell you, you know, I can feel for Bobby Labonte, because it's something to win your very first Winston Cup race. He won a Busch race, and he'd won a lot of other races, and you know, that's something that you try your whole life for. And he'd got to be involved with some, and his brother, and that sort of stuff. But there's nothing like coming to the races the day after, you know, the week after, when you win your first Winston Cup race, when you walk into the garage area. Man, it really feels good, because everybody's saying, hey, man, good job.
Well, this is such a sport of fragile egos. Is there a big difference between coming to the racetrack saying, I think I can win, and being able to come to the racetrack and saying, I know I can win. I've done it.
That's for sure. You know, and I mean, it's tough. You don't know until you actually do it.
Mike, I'll tell you the honest truth. You can win 10, 15, 20, and you're still, when you go to the racetrack, there's that little thing in there. Why could I win this race? It's a little bit of a challenge to yourself, that you go out there and give everything you have in every race.
Well, there's 38 drivers out there right now asking themselves that same question. One of them will get to answer it. 169 laps are complete. Kyle Petty leads. Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Bobby Labonte, and Jimmy Spencer.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Speed Stick by Menon. Like you, it never quits.
Mark Martin back on track there after a flat left side tire. And you see at the top of your screen the new pedestrian overpass here at Turn 2 in Dover as you watch from our Steel area camera. Steel chainsaws, powerful, easy to use, and durable, qualities you can depend on in Steel territory. There's a look at it. That's made life a lot easier for all of the Winston Cup and Busch teams and the media here at Dover Downs.
Mike,
a lot of people use that.
In Sherrill Ford, that's a bridge.
They've described it here as the above-ground tunnel. Figure that one out.
Have you been across it, Mike?
No, I haven't.
I tell you, went across it. Me and Richard Childers went over to the truck race last night, and we walked across it during the Busch race. Man, it's not a... I didn't really like the feeling of it, because it's all glass and you can see the cars, and the cars are obviously going really, really fast, but it vibrates.
Oh boy.
You can really feel the sensation. It wasn't making me want to get in there and do it.
Well, the reason they made the sides of glass is so that it wouldn't restrict the view of the people who sit in Turn 2 all that much.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And one of the things is when you're walking by, you can at least see what the race is happening. But me and Richard Childers were walking through there, and when we got over there and on the back side of the wall, a washer come off a piece of somebody's car and hit the trash can right beside us. I mean, it hit it hard. So I tell you, it's amazing that people don't get hurt sitting by the racetrack.
Was that washer intended for you or Richard?
Well, I think it was for Richard.
Here is Jimmy Spencer in the Travis Carter Smokin' Joe's number 23, battling Bobby Labonte. Both these drivers have had a good run here today.
I was just fixing to say Bobby Labonte's been on the outside, the inside, trying to get by Jimmy Spencer. He's got his work cut out for him. That's a very, very hard man to pass on the racetrack.
You'll hear Bobby Labonte's radio in the background as he and the team and his spotters communicate. These cars are 14 seconds behind race leader Kyle Petty as they battle for fourth place. That Chevy Monte Carlo there. Randy from Pennsylvania calls in, wants to know if it's front-wheel drive like the ones in the showroom.
No. You wouldn't want to blow a motor in a front-wheel drive car. I can promise you that. There's no turning. You go straight in the wall. They all have rear pull in the corners and all. And front steer, that would really open up another bag of worms. I'm telling you. You talk about something else, go down there and lock the brakes up, around you'd go into the wall.
Can you imagine what it would take to set up a front-wheel drive car loose? I mean, those front wheels are doing the steering and the pulling. That would be hard to do.
I wouldn't want to have to build the tires for it.
No. Randy, no. To answer your question, all the Winston Cup cars are front-engine, rear-wheel drive.
Right. Now, the Monte Carlo on the street is a front-wheel drive car.
Bobby Labonte finally got by him there. He got under Spencer getting into turn 3 and made this move. Look at Kyle Petty. I mean, he's going by some great race cars right now. It looked like he's going to put Michael Waltrip a lap down.
There are now only 11 cars on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip running 11th in the Pennzoil car. Let's go to Glenn.
Well, guys, earlier on in the week, I talked to Kyle Petty. I asked him what he thought about the new concrete surface, and he said, well, I don't really know. He didn't seem to like it too much. He seems to like it now, Barry. What's the secret to his success?
He likes Dover anyway, Glenn. And our line didn't work in qualifying, and we really weren't happy with the car this morning. We made an air pressure adjustment before we ever ran these tires, and we thought it might be in our favor. Maybe it is. We've stuck with that. Plus, we made a small adjustment on the car, and he's just having fun. You know, it's my birthday, and I couldn't have a better present right now. We got a long way to go, and we're hoping to get some tires. But right now, you know, Ford Light Pontiac's running good. It's running like a cat, and the Kendall Oil's doing a great job.
We just got word, Barry, NASCAR is allocating another set of tires.
That's the rest of my birthday present.
Happy birthday, Barry.
185 laps complete. Kyle Petty leads, trying to put the 11th place car, number 30 Michael Waltrip, a lap down.
That's a lot more like what I was saying. Is what NASCAR has said. They have one set of tires they started the race on. They had 5 sets in the pits, and then if you had brought tires or something, we actually flew 11 more tires up because we had at the shop. So what NASCAR did was collected all the tires the people had brought and that sort of thing. They mounted them all. They were going to put them in one big huddle, and then when they needed tires in the race, they would have it where everybody could get one more allotment, and then if cars broke or did other things, they would confiscate all their tires, and then they would allot these tires for the people that were racing.
187 laps complete. It seems like a very fair way of dealing with things. And hopefully no tire troubles today. We'll be right back. Today's AutoZone Tech Fact brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, best parts in auto parts. Today's Tech Fact deals with the Hendrick engine's horsepower. In these 5 cars, Hendrick Motors have led 45% of the laps run this year. Jeff Gordon by a wide margin, but add in Ken Schrader and Bobby Labonte, whose teams rents engines from Hendrick Engines, led by Randy Dorton. Terry Labonte and Steve Grissom runs a Hendrick power plant as well, and they've led nearly half the laps this year. Add in today's, and it may be half of those. Side-by-side battle as Joe Nemechek drops underneath. Jimmy Spencer picks up a spot. That'll be 5th place? 6th place, excuse me.
I tell you, we got to talk a little bit about Derek Koch, too, because he started, I think, in a provisional spot, and I think he's
up to 8.
Up to 8.
And Ted Musgrave just took 9th. What's happened to Spencer's car?
Well, I told you a little while back, when you don't make an adjustment on the stop, you say that car is absolutely perfect. This racetrack changes and changes and changes, so that's what's happening right now. He's thinking, I'll change when I come back in. See how high he is right there?
Now, while we're on Jimmy Spencer, let me explain. 2 weeks ago, we've had some calls about the incident between, as he waves his hand, Spencer's going to pit this time. That we had some comments when he and Kenny Schrader got together in the Winston Select. There was a second crash down in turn 3 where apparently Schrader came up the racetrack a bit and bumped into Jimmy Spencer, and we cut away from it quickly. Our camera crews and directors were already looking for that next shot. We went back to look for it, did not have it on videotape, but we did not deliberately cut away from that collision. We were already going to the next shot, didn't have it on tape, so sorry about that. And here's Randy.
Jimmy Spencer has hit pit road. He radioed to Travis Carter and the guys that he just didn't like this set of tires. It was mismatched somewhat. They've already gone around the right side and now are on the left. They made a slight chassis adjustment to tighten them up just a little bit. One of the tires has gotten away and is across pit road as Spencer runs down pit road.
18.5-second stop for the Smokin' Joe's team. With Spencer back on the racetrack and kind of out of the pit stop sequence. Ted Musgrave and Derek Cope in the straight arrow. Products Ford, number 12, the Bobby Allison car, having quite a battle with Musgrave in the Family Channel, number 16.
Well, Derek Cope's won here before. I think the fastest race that's ever been run here, he was the guy that won it. So he knows how to get around here. This place, like Darrell Waltrip said yesterday, all they did was make this thing white. It's still Dover.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. Derek won here in 1990 for car owner Bob Whitcomb. Buddy Parrott was the crew chief. Same year, Cope won the Daytona 500. Now, Ray Evernham this week and the Hendrick team, the Jeff Gordon team, fined $60,000 for a non-approved lightweight hub at Charlotte. Kellen from Missouri calls in, says, where does that fine money go?
It goes back in the point fund. So somebody will have a bigger payday when they win the championship, and it's funneled down through each position. So, you know, it's not going into NASCAR's pocket. It's going back into the competitor's pocket. And, you know, that's the way to do it.
Here's Nemechek. And Musgrave now has caught Nemechek as they work around Dick Trickle. And there's a Hut Strickland going on to pit road. Hut Strickland just gave up a top 5 spot to put the Quaker State Ford on pit road. Green flag stops once again. There's Hut. And we'll see what they do at lap 200. He comes in the pit lane. Randy's there.
Richard Groom's boys go to work on the Quaker State Ford. You know, this team absolutely thrilled to death to have this kid in the car. They've struggled all year long. No disrespect to Steve Kinzer. Already done with the right sides. They cleaned the windshield. 4 tire stops. Second can of fuel in. Done with that. Hut Strickland down and away, and they are having a great race. 17-2 on the stop.
And they ran 84 laps on that set of tires, and that's nearly a full fuel stop.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, 84 laps here at Dover is, you know, probably stretching it pretty far. And, you know, I think sometimes we've run up into the 90s, but I look for everybody to be pitting here pretty soon, and they all got tires.
Well, Mike, if you have a little bit of, you know, if the car's a little bit loose or something like that, it's better to stop and get fresh tires and make that adjustment and be out there on fresh tires. While all these guys are out there on old tires, you can make up a lot of distance on them.
Kyle Petty leads this race, and he's about a dozen laps away from his pit stop. Several calls on our 800 number about Darrell Waltrip. Just to repeat, he got out of the car at lap 5, turned it over to Jimmy Hensley. We'll be right back. For information on Opryland USA, the official destination of NASCAR, call during the week, 1-615-889-6611.
Mike, if there's ever a question what a car feels like after it's been in a wreck, look at this thing shake. Look at his arm and everything, how it's wiggling there. This thing is really vibrating.
If you have questions about today's telecast, about the flow of this race, something you didn't hear on the air, a question you need answered, 1-800-451-7331 gets you into TNN, and you can't get any closer. Call in with your questions. We'll answer some of them. Ernie, the most asked question today is, when are we going to see Ernie Irvan back behind the wheel again?
Well, I don't know that exactly. I wish I had that. It's been the question in the garage area, too. I wish I had a really good answer. And
how about tomorrow?
How about tomorrow?
You know, I mean, I did some testing at Bristol last week, and this week I'm going to Richmond and going to test 2 of our trucks and just trying to get our chassis sorted out, and hopefully we can get it fast enough for Joe Ruttman to win a race.
Well, great. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
210 laps are complete. As we watch the battle for 5th place, Kyle Petty leads this race. Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Bobby Labonte, and then this battle. Ted Musgrave, has caught Joe Nemechek. Berger got a little loose on the bun there.
Yeah, that's when he does that commercial. He kind of holds his finger up. Wait just a second. Well, Ted Musgrave said, I'll guarantee you, because he was really sideways getting off turn 2 over there.
I tell you, you know, something I've seen now since the place is got cement. You know, normally when you would have got sideways off of 2 that bad, you would have busted your butt. And it seems like now that once the racetrack's starting to come in and the people are getting used to it, I think the cars are having a lot more adhesion.
Well, Mel Joseph told me that they have straight grooves down the front straightaway for traction. For that reason, when you get sideways, it's got something for the tire to catch instead of a smooth surface. So it apparently works.
Makes sense. I mean, you know, that right there really looked like a spot that, I mean, you know, very seldom do guys get sideways off it too and save it. I know racing here before, it's really something. Here comes Teddy Musgrave in the pits.
Thought Joe Nemechek was coming in with him, but Nemechek stayed out one more lap. Musgrave is in. Howard Comstock's Family Channel crew goes to work on the Jack Roush-owned machine. Puts the wrench in for chassis adjustment on the right rear as they hand over the tire. And have to chase one out into pit road as Todd Bodine comes past. 4-tire change for Musgrave, who is 5th place in the Winston Cup point standings coming into today's race.
Well, Ted had a real good shot at maybe winning the race last year and was going down into turn 1 and had a tire blow out going in the corner and went straight up into the wall. I tell you what, he was very lucky he didn't get hurt.
He and Burton both had a strong chance to win here and ended up in the fence. Kyle Petty dominating this race right now over Jeff Gordon. Not too far away from green flag pit stops. We've been caution free since lap 48. 3 cautions today.
Here comes Derek Cope into the pits now, and so he's one of the guys that's running towards the front too.
Next lap, Kyle will be in.
I'll tell you one thing, the sponsorship's appropriate on that car, the Silver Bullet. He's getting on with it today.
I tell you, he really is. Kyle's really running competitive.
Derek Cope in the pit lane, one of the top 10 cars. And now Kyle Petty comes down onto the pit road. Right behind him, Jimmy Hensley in the Darrell Waltrip car. Here's Glenn.
Kyle brings the Coors Light Silver Bullet in. This will be a 4-tire change with gasoline. Barry Dodson said there will be no chassis adjustment. Kyle's biggest concern before the stop was that he may run out of fuel. He said to Barry, please don't let me run out of fuel. So Barry said, all right, bring her in next lap. So far, pretty good stop going. We'll get a time on it. Left side's done. A little trouble on the left front. And my stopwatch malfunctioned. Sorry, didn't get the time.
It's all right, Glenn. Ours says 19.9, so that's a decent stop. Joe Nemechek is in the Burger King Chevy.
And now Michael Waltrip come in about the same time as Kyle, just right behind him, and it looks like Kyle's going to really stretch it up on Michael Waltrip in the pits.
Michael had gotten back onto the lead lap, but now loses a lap. Here's why. Look at Michael Waltrip getting into Jimmy Hensley.
That's his brother's car.
There was a little bit of sheet metal flying in the air there.
So Jeff Gordon picks up the lead as Kyle Petty makes a pit stop. And the DuPont Chevrolet is out front, where it has been pretty often this year. Gordon leads the league with 3 victories.
What Jeff Gordon better not do is stay out there too long on used tires, because I guarantee you the way Kyle Petty's running, he's going to lose some valuable time if he stays up there very much longer.
New tires being so much faster than worn ones, the longer Gordon stays on the racetrack, will give a chance to Kyle Petty and these other drivers on the lead lap to close in.
I normally have my stopwatch up here, and I normally get to be able to clock how fast they're going on sticker tires and how fast they're going late into a run, and I'm sure we'll find out that times.
We'll get a check of it here in a minute. Ricky Craven is in the pits, and Sterling Marlin has brought the Kodak Chevrolet onto pit road. These are routine green flag pit stops. Randy Pemberton is there.
Well, the Morgan McClure team waits for Sterling's arrival. Everything going like clockwork. Front pitman engine running flawlessly. Sterling brings her to a halt. Once again, these two teams, the 4 team and the 24, which pits behind him, have been coordinating, trying to pit within a lap. If you remember back at Talladega, it was the 4 car that helped Jeff Gordon come back to the front to win Talladega. Done with the right-hand side, already around to the left. First can of gas is in. I don't see the wedge wrench is in. There's the chassis adjustment on the 4 car. Loosen him up just a tick. He's down and away. 22.7. Not the best stop, but not bad.
Brett Bodine in the Lowe's Ford of Junior Johnson is in. Rick Mast in the Skoll Ford making his pit stop, as Kyle Petty now battles Derek Cope. Jeff Gordon stays out there. Running right in the tire tracks of Kenny Schrader. There is Colt and Kyle.
You see Kyle closing up there with the fresh tires and all behind Cope. He's really got an advantage in the corner, but he's not closing as fast as I would think.
The difference in lap times, Ernie, you asked. Kyle Petty in traffic 25.1 seconds with fresh tires. Jeff Gordon on these worn tires 26.2. It's a second a lap that Kyle is gaining on Jeff every lap that Jeff stays out there.
Well, you can see the difference in the line. The 24 car Jeff Gordon goes in the corner on the bottom, goes kind of rainbows the corner, goes up a little high in the center, tries to drag her back down. Right now he's hanging on the bottom, passing Dave Marcus, but you watch him when he goes in the next corner, he'll go in right on the groove and then he'll sweep way up in the center part of the corner.
Yeah, Dave's got a little spaghetti flying off the hood of that Olive Garden car. They're a little bit well stuck. Okay, it's duct tape.
See where he's at right there? He's about a car length higher than Kyle Petty when he's running really well on the bottom.
226 laps. We're coming up on the halfway mark here at Dover Downs. Jeff Gordon has yet to make this green flag pit stop and rolls on with the lead. We'll be right back. Crew chief talking to Bobby Labonte as he comes back out after a good stop. 18.2 seconds for Joe Gibbs' team. And Dale Earnhardt comes on to pit road. He is the second place car. Don't believe he has led a lap today. He might have if he'd stayed out that lap when Bobby Labonte pitted. Let's go to Earnhardt's pit.
Well, Earnhardt has came to a halt as the leaders continue to pit. Still the damage on the left front. Everybody pulls it out every time they come by. Just make a little tug at it. Andy Petrie still works on the left front. Working on the right rear. A couple of lug nuts fall off. He's down and away.
Earnhardt back out onto the speedway, and they took a long time wiping that windshield. Must be a lot of glare out there today with this new bright white concrete surface.
Boy, I tell you, it don't matter what surface you have out there. After a while, it gets the oil on the windshield and everything else. And you're running into the sun down the back straightaway. You don't like a dirty windshield.
Okay, we've had all the pit stops now, and Kyle Petty's regained the lead. Jeff Gordon's in second, and the 26 car's in third with Hut Strickland.
Good run for Hut Strickland today.
And Sterling Marlin fourth, and Bobby Labonte fifth.
Then Jimmy Spencer is sixth, Ted Musgrave is seventh, Joe Nemechek is eighth. Those are the cars on the lead lap. As we've had a long run here under green, nearly 200 laps. Started the day out with 3 quick caution flags. The first one for that 19-car crash, and then one for Jeff Bodine's spin, and then Morgan Shepherd.
I was just looking at the difference between the 42 car of Kyle Petty. When he comes by the start finishing line, Jeff Gordon is just going into turn 3 over there, so he really did pick up a lot of ground on him. He had a nice lead, but he really picked up because Gordon stayed out so many more laps on used tires.
Dale Earnhardt has gone a lap down, the Winston Cup point leader. 80 points ahead of Mark Martin going into this race, and Martin was in that big dust up at the start of the race and as many laps down, but Earnhardt's now gone 1 down, along with Derek Cope, Michael Waltrip, Chuck Bound. Those cars are all being posted as, excuse me, take Chuck Bound off that list. Michael Waltrip, Derek Cope, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Rick Mast, Kenny Schrader, Robert Presley, along with Brett Bodine, Steve Grissom, the Darrell Waltrip car with Jimmy Hensley aboard, Morgan Shepherd, Michael Waltrip, Mike Wallace. Those cars all a lap or 2 down.
Well, I tell you what, you know, they say we changed the air pressure a little bit, this and that on the 42 car. How he drives that race car has a lot to do with it. Darrell Waltrip said yesterday, a lot of times you have to slow down to run really fast. Ernie, you know what he's talking about.
Oh, it's true, and that's one of the things Kyle Petty really does good. And, you know, this racetrack right now is probably leading a lot like Rockingham did when Kyle would dominate Rockingham, and he's doing it right here today.
4th place race here. The yellow car is that of Sterling Marlin. Right behind him, Bobby Labonte, as you look at the back straightaway. And just back of them, let's pick up Jimmy Spencer, number 23, the yellow car, and Ted Musgrave. That race is for 6th place. Here's how the pit stops sorted out. Bobby Labonte on the battle off pit road. Earnhardt, Gordon, Petty, and Marlin.
Randy had said that they dropped some lug nuts off Dale Earnhardt's car when they were doing the pit stop. I wonder if they put those on.
Yeah, I hope those are the ones from the wheel that came off.
Well,
Randy, why don't you check on that for us?
Mike, you can see the cars that are having trouble sticking in the corner. When you say you go slower to get in the corner, what it does, it lets the car settle down, makes the straightaway longer because you get back in the throttle. By getting in easy, the car doesn't wash up the racetrack. You notice Kyle's right on the bottom. When he picks the throttle up, it makes a straightaway out of most of the racetrack. You come off the corner just flying because you're not sliding.
Another driving tip from Professor Baker.
Oh, please.
Well, it was.
Okay.
There's Randy LaJoy, whose MBNA Pontiac looks like it missed a payment. He was involved in that incident on the early going.
Ted Musgrave has been running Spencer for the past hour and a half, I think, and he hadn't gained any ground whatsoever. You see right there, he gains a little bit in the center of the corner. They come off the corner, Jimmy will stretch back out. They've been racing like this for a long time.
And we're almost to halfway.
Thank you, Professor.
These cars, though, they're battling hard. Now Musgrave looks underneath Spencer, but they're only 6 seconds away from going a lap down. So Musgrave says, time to go.
Time to go.
I bet Ted says, that's like winning the race, you know. I finally got by him. Here we go. I think Spencer's just a little bit off. He added the roundabout in the car a while ago, but I think he's still got a handling problem because he's not running like he did the first part of the race.
Here's the fourth place battle, Sterling Marlin and Bobby Labonte, last week's winner at Charlotte. Each with a win this year. Marlin, of course, has 2 and is 3rd in the point standings.
One of the things NASCAR did do this yesterday was they put some pylons out yesterday morning and made everybody go out and hot lap and be able to work in the outside groove. And you can really see that the racetrack has got a lot of rubber on it. When they come up here and test it, they couldn't see anything where you could see where the inside or outside is. But that's one of the things that NASCAR had done, and I think that's where we're able to see some cars going in the higher part of the racetrack.
One thing that is different, talking with Wayne Womack, our lead cameraman here on TNN, to pick up on when a car starts to slide, you used to see white tire smoke against the black asphalt, and now here you don't see that. The drivers don't see it, the cameramen don't see it, the fans don't. A little harder to pick up when a car gets sideways here than it used to be.
Yeah, that's probably true. You know, the camera guy would probably be the first one that would actually see it. But I remember Buddy was telling me that this morning.
I was just looking at some of these cars coming off the corner, missing front ends and everything else. We had a horrendous wreck for you guys that missed the first part of this race, and I'll tell you what, it was an ugly one. Well, these cars out there have got a lot of damage to the nose section, tail section, and everything else.
If we get a long caution, perhaps we'll be able to show it to you once more. 246 laps complete, halfway in 4 laps here at Dover Downs. TNN's live coverage continues after these messages.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more till you use it.
Welcome back to Dover Downs. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvin. Watching Kyle Petty lead this race, and Barney Hall of MRN Radio walks on by. Aren't you working today, Barney? Yeah. Oh, okay. He's making a pit stop. Folks, let's show you what happened back here at lap 3 for those of you that tuned in late. John Andretti gets a little bit loose here. Watch what happened. Ricky Craven, Joe Nemechek, Brett Bodine gets through, but a lot of people behind do not. 19 cars received some damage in this collision coming off turn number 4. And of them, Andretti, Dale Jarrett, Elton Sawyer, and Bobby Hillen were through for the day. Terry Labonte has made repairs and he's back in the race. There's Jeff Burton, likewise. Mark Martin, Lake Speed, Chuck Bound, Ricky Rudd, Todd Bodine were all able to make repairs and continue. Add Dave Marcus to that list, and Dick Trickle are all still in the race. So because you can't get any closer, all you folks who called in asked to see it, there it was. Back to live action. Mark Martin, again, one of the cars that were damaged. Which, the way that car looked when it came to rest after the crash, it looks awful good now.
Thank God for duct tape. Look at how much tape is on that car. It's held together right now by tape on the left rear quarter. The whole back of that car is taped down too.
So at halfway, here's our Goodyear mid-race report brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires. 6 different leaders, 10 lead changes. Average speed due to that first wreck, 115.2 miles per hour. 3 caution flags for 24 laps. We've been caution-free since lap 48. Here are the race leaders. And you'll notice that list will include Dale Earnhardt, because when Bobby Labonte pitted, Earnhardt did stay out, led 2 laps, picked up the 5 Winston Cup bonus points before he pitted. These are the 4 cars eliminated in that 3rd lap crash. Kyle Petty now with Robert Presley in tow. 257 laps complete. The last victory for Kyle was June of 1993 at Pocono. He dominated that day too, led 148 of the 200 laps.
Well, as you can see from that first shot that we showed you where all the cars were in a wreck, nobody has this race locked up because they're leading at this particular time. There's a lot of race to go, believe me.
Kyle's lead helped in part by good pit stops and also by the way that car has been running since about lap 50, now stands at 11 seconds. That's one of the biggest leads of this season, I think.
Yeah, and he's driving it pretty well too. You see where he's out there. The left side of that race car is just pinned to the bottom of the racetrack.
Why do they call it a silver bullet if none of it's silver?
That's pretty obvious to me.
Okay.
He's blowing them away right now. It can be any color and still be called silver bullet.
4th place battle here. Sterling Marlin and Bobby Labonte as they lap by Bobby's older brother Terry.
Oh, Bobby, he got a little loose getting in there. When you pass on this outside, you have to really have the car aimed right. Now he's making a move on Marlin on the bottom side. Sterling kind of rolls out of it and lets him go by.
You heard the spotter call clear to Bobby Labonte as he went on past, meaning that he was clear to move up the racetrack. He had gone completely past the car that he was working against. Let's check with Glenn on pit road.
Well, guys, I moved up a little bit behind pit road, just above it here on the horse track. This is the tire impound area, and you can see Gary Nelson right there. He's monitoring this situation. Remember, they were only allotted 6 sets of tires to begin the race, 5 on pit road, 1 on the car. And as cars fell out of the race, which unfortunately a lot of them did early, they were required to bring their sets of tires down here, put them in a pool. Then when there were enough tires for everybody to get 1 more set, they allocated another set to them. Remember, we were talking to Barry Dodson when word came that they got that set. These are the tires that are left over, and the rest of the cars, or any more cars continue to fall out. These tires will be impounded here, and there's enough for everybody to get 1 more set. They'll put them out there, but Gary Nelson has kept his finger on the pulse of this thing all day long.
And all season long, Glenn. At Daytona, there was some controversy over who should get tires that came off cars that fell out of the race. At Wilkesboro, NASCAR created further controversy by doling out tires, additional sets of tires only to cars on the lead lap, thus taking cars that were not on the lead lap effectively out of the race. This seems to be a very fair and equitable way of dealing with this. It's just taken some time to get to this solution. Seems to be quite a good one. We're at 264 laps as Kyle Petty leads here at Dover Downs. Looking at Dover Downs from our Steel area camera. Brought to you by Steel, makers of a full line of leaf blowers, trimmers, and the #1 selling brand of chainsaws worldwide. Packed house here at Dover Downs. They continue to build grandstand seats, fill up the infield, and the demand continues for more. There's our eye in the sky. Live today, the NHRA Virginia is for Lovers Nationals. From Richmond, Virginia, Steve Evans, Dave McClellan, and Bob Fry have all the NHRA final round action live here on TNN Motorsports. 5 p.m. Eastern is the scheduled time. Kyle Petty appears to be by himself. Virtually he is. A change at second place. Hut Strickland has taken second from Jeff Gordon while we were away. And there's been a lot of chatter on Jeff Gordon's radio about whether he might have a tire going down, and he is pitting. Randy?
Well, that has been it. You're correct, Mike. He's radioed in, said, guys, get the right side tires ready. I think I might have a flat right rear. So Ray Evernham and the crew await Jeff Gordon's arrival here on pit road. 35 miles an hour down pit road. The question is right now, will they go ahead and just change the rights, or will they change the lefts as well? It looks like they're just going to go to the right side and try to make this a minimal stay on pit road. Gas is in as usual. He's down and away. 8.7 seconds, best they could do.
It's a pretty fast stop right there.
He was in just 42 laps ago, so this will put Gordon way out of the pit stop sequence, and the stop will cost him at least a lap to race leader Kyle Petty. That will leave us 6 cars on the lead lap. Hut Strickland in second, Bobby Labonte in third, Sterling Marlin fourth, Ted Musgrave in fifth, and Joe Nemechek in sixth are the cars on the lead lap. 1 lap down, Jeff Gordon, Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt, along with Derek Cope, Rusty Wallace, Kenny Schrader, and Rick Mass, and Jeff Gordon. 2 laps back, Brett Bodine. Jimmy Spencer just made a pit stop, so he's 2 laps down. Morgan Shepherd and Steve Grissom. It's Gordon on fresh right sides going past Nemechek. 6 cars on the lead lap. No cautions since lap 48 has kind of spread this field out.
See Jeff there, he's still running that high line. That car is not working the way he wants it to. He's not able to stay on the lower part of the racetrack like Kyle Petty is. And that's an aggravating thing when it won't turn. You see it go up right there. Look at Kyle Petty. He looks like he's going into the crowd there. He's so low.
Let's take a look back at the field. Would you believe in 1971 they ran this race without a caution flag?
I'd believe it. I was here.
Bobby Allison won it.
Bobby Allison won a lot of races. I tell you what, he come up here one time and had a first time power steering was really used up here, and he just dominated the race.
Right behind race leader Kyle Petty, here is Steve Grissom. Steve is in 17th position right now, and he is a couple of laps back, 3 laps back. Robert Presley, rookie driver, having a good outing here. He has gone 4 laps down and runs in 24th position in the Skoll Chevrolet. Jeff Bodine brought out the second caution of the day at lap 27. He is 41 laps behind the leader, but continues to run in 31st place. And Mark Martin was involved in that first crash. He is 36th on the board, but every position he can gain from here on out is an additional 3 Winston Cup points. He came back into this race in 39th place. He is now 36th. Ricky Rudd was also in that ruck. Here's Michael Waltrip. Pennzoil Pontiac has flirted with the lead lap all day. He is the first car 1 lap down. He's in 7th place. Jeremy Mayfield is 3 laps back in 18th position, driving the RCA Ford for Cale Yarborough. It's his first trip to Dover as well. Ricky Rudd in that recycled Tide container.
Boy, oh boy. That's not a pretty thing, but it's still running pretty good.
And he is 33rd also from that lap 3 wreck. And Todd Bodine has completed 4 more laps than Ricky Rudd. Those cars would probably both fit the same template. It would just be a very short template.
Boy, oh boy. That says a lot for how tough these things are, though. That all the sheet metal's off of it there. Look at Randy LaJoie's car there. Whole front end's taped on.
It's also his first run in this race at Dover. He has competed here previously. 26th place, 7 laps back in Bill Davis's MBNA Pontiac. Then Mike Wallace driving the Judy Donlevy car. One of our 800 calls wondered if this was his Busch car. Well, no, they just do have the same paint job and almost the same sponsorship. Heilig Myers on the Sunday card. Duron paints and Heilig Myers on his Busch car. And Dale Earnhardt, who has gone 1 lap down. But he did lead a lap here. Gives him 5 bonus points, trying to protect an 80-point lead over Mark Martin.
You can see the damage on Bobby Hamilton there. He was in that first melee and he turned 4 wreck up here, and you see the whole nose of that car is really damaged. I'm sure that's hurting it somewhat.
It's hurt at 11 laps. That's how far he's behind the leader. Brett Bodine's having a good run today, though they just made a pit stop that put them 2 laps down. He's in 14th position in the Junior Johnson Lowe's Ford. And Kenny Wallace in his 7th Dover appearance. In the Phil Martossi TIC Financial Ford, he is 3 laps back in 20th place. Derek Cope is 1 lap down, running 9th. In the straight arrow mane and tail Ford Thunderbird. And Rusty Wallace, trying to win his 4th in a row here at Dover, is the 10th place car. He is 1 lap down. We'll take a look back further through the field when we come back. 284 laps are complete as Bill Elliott begins another round of green flag pit stops. Kyle Petty leads this race here at Dover. Rusty Wallace had just made a 4-tire pit stop. Something went wrong on the left front of the car, and Rusty is back in. They send him away again after stopping for only 3 seconds, but it's that 35 miles an hour down pit road is what hurt you.
Oh boy, that's a costly penalty here too when you go another lap down. He was 1 lap down already, and now he's 2 down.
I can't see that side of the car from here, but I believe that he came back in to make sure all the lug nuts on the left front were tight. Jimmy Spencer, as we pick back up, trying to show you everybody through the field as green flag pit stops continue. Spencer is now shown as 2 laps down to Kyle Petty in 14th position. Had a real good run in the first 100 laps here. Not seen much of Kenny Schrader today. Schrader still recuperating from that thumb injury and is 1 lap down in 9th. He's been a top 10 car all day long. Budweiser Chevy of Rick Hendrick.
Past winner here.
Yes, 1991. Bobby Labonte, 2nd place in this race, 1st place 1 week ago.
Oh boy, he's running well too. You know, he really takes care of his car. He seems to have that innate ability to really get through a lot of different places and save his car.
The more I watch Bobby Labonte race, the more he reminds me of David Pearson.
He reminds me of a lot of his brother.
Yes.
I mean, one of the guys, he's like the Iceman, and he's going to be there all day.
Right. We saw Jimmy Hensley there in the Darrell Waltrip Western Auto Chevy in relief of Darrell. Hensley is 18th, 3 laps back, and here's Rick Mass, the 10th place car in the Skoll Ford. Morgan Shepherd is in 15th position. He's 2 laps down in the Citgo Ford of the Wood Brothers. He brought out the 3rd caution of the day at lap 44 when he cut down a tire. Sterling Marlin runs in 3rd in the Morgan McClure Chevrolet, the Kodak Films number 4. He is one of now just 4 cars on the lead lap as Joe Nemechek is going a lap down.
Boy, oh boy.
No, you might accuse Kyle Petty of trying to stink up our show.
Boy, it's like his dad used to be. Richard would get in a rhythm, and I'll tell you what, he was tough to head off.
Yep. Ted Musgrave, the Family Channel Ford of Jack Roush, is on the lead lap. He's the 4th place car behind Sterling Marlin. And 5th in the points. Battle side by side, Jeff Gordon along with Hut Strickland. Strickland is flying.
I believe I'd have to rethink selling that team. I'll tell you what, Kenny Bernstein's hit on something. I think Hut Strickland is one of the better drivers. You know, he was without a ride most of the year this year, but they got the right man in there now.
Hut Strickland has tires that are 15 laps fresher than Jeff Gordon's. Let's go down to Jeff Gordon's pit. Here's Randy.
Well, we talked about Jeff coming in before getting those right side tires. He said he might have a right rear flat. It was not the case. They went back out. Well, first of all, they checked the tire in the pits. It was absolutely up. Went back out. Jeff radioed back in, said, this car feels like it's laying over on the right side. I went to Ray Evernham. I asked him if it might be a shock or something like that. They don't know. Jeff is still up to speed. He is nearly 2 laps down running, just about a second and a half in front of Kyle Petty and slightly pulling away. But there is something a little bit wrong with the right rear of Jeff Gordon's car.
Well, this is the man that has been putting him everybody time and laps down. Kyle Petty at 298 laps handily leads here as you're watching Jeff Gordon's pit. We'll be right back. For more information on Opryland, official destination of NASCAR, call during weekday hours, 615-889-6611. Once again, we invite your comments here on the telecast. If you have questions about the way this race is progressing, call us toll free. Can't get any closer than with TNN. Dial us up at 1-800-451-7331. Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte, Sterling Marlin are the cars on the lead lap now that Ted Musgrave has made his pit stop. And we have been caution free since lap 48 in this race. Kyle works underneath Dave Marcus there.
Mike, I was just fixing to say this. Oh, he's giving a hand signal there. He's fixing to come in the pits. He's telling the drivers around him. You can see him going his hand back and forth. He's coming in the pits right now.
Kyle gave us a long day on TNN at Rockingham in 1992. He led all but 8 laps of that 500-miler. Here's Glenn in Kyle's pit.
Kyle overshoots his pits just a little bit. NASCAR official made him back up. They're expecting only 4 tires and gasoline again. No chassis adjustment. Kyle told Barry Dodson on the radio, man, if you change the chassis on this car, I'm going to cut my hair off and come in and beat you to death with it. Well, they will not make any changes at all, but that did cost them a little time, maybe an extra second and a half, 20.8 seconds. That did cost them a little bit of time to overshoot.
Cut his hair off and beat him with it.
He will lose the lead to Bobby Labonte.
Man, what a comment.
I wonder where he comes up with those things.
I don't know. Kyle's pretty witty, I'll tell you.
You are the leader.
If you're running that well, you have time to think about what something funny to say.
You'll hear Bobby Labonte's team in the background as they communicate, and Labonte leads for the second time today.
This team has done miracles this year. I'm telling you, Bobby Labonte has had a chance to win at least 3 times this year. In Atlanta, he was gaining on Gordon with about 5 or 6 laps to go. He got hung up in some traffic, and he didn't have time to close, but he's been in a main factor in at least 3 major events this year.
Randy?
Well, I got a little something for you guys. If this thing stays green like it's been for a while now, Kyle Petty cannot make it to the finish without a pit stop. The 4 car for sure can, and I believe the 18 car as well can. So, if this thing stays on the green, we might see something else shake out of this race.
I believe what Randy's saying is with just 1 more pit stop. We're at 3:03:10 out of 500. And so after this round of pit stops and 1 more, the way the sequencing is, that Kyle Petty might have to make an extra stop, and that could well be the case.
If you get a chance to show the in 1 and 2, the back glass in the 18 car, it's very interesting. It's got so much down pressure on that glass, it's caving it in.
Here's Joe Nemechek on pit road with the Burger King Chevy. Now, Joe is the 3rd place car, and the pit stop by Kyle Petty put Dale Earnhardt back in the lead lap, although he has a pit stop to make. Let's go to Kyle's pit. Here's Glenn.
Looking at gas mileage, Barry, can you make it on 1 more stop?
Possibly so, you know, from what we're putting in the car. We probably got a lower gear than a lot of these other cars, and that's why they went farther last time. We just need for it to go green, you know, and not get a caution here. You know, we're good enough if we do get a caution, hopefully we can get the lap back. We just need for the race to go green.
That pretty well sums it up.
Bobby Labonte will do everything he can to keep Kyle 1 lap down. Now, Kyle is a lap down because he pitted under green, and Bobby Labonte has not. Brett Bodine makes a stop. You cannot pit here without losing a lap under green. Sterling Marlin is now the 2nd place car to Bobby Labonte as he comes on to pit road. That will move Earnhardt up the leaderboard to 2nd because he has not yet made his pit stop. Let's check with Randy and Sterling Marlin's pit.
Yeah, I certainly may have left out a word or two down here on that. It was 1 more stop after this round is what I meant. and Sterling Marlin is in. Right side tires, they claim they can go all the way after this, baby. So right side tires are on. One more stop for these guys and they can make it. Left side tires are on. Another round of wedge for him on the left side. Sterling is down and away. One more stop and they should be able to go all the way.
Thanks, Randy. Rick Mast is in as well in the Skoll Ford. And Hutch Strickland got into somebody there with the left front. Hit the wall, we're told.
I don't see how he hit the wall with the left front. And the side of the car be that clear. It looked like he might have gotten the back of somebody is what it looks like to me.
It's hard to do that without spinning out. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, we'll double check that, but he did, certainly Hutch did get into something.
Mike, the good part is it's not rubbing the tires, so he's able to keep going.
Right. There's the damage to the left front on Hutch Strickland's car. Kyle Petty moves underneath Bobby Labonte. Labonte, now that Kyle has passed him and unlapped himself, Labonte may make his pit stop. We're at 316 laps. Greg Sachs in the Kendall Oil number 40 makes his pit stop. As we're live with you at Dover Downs, Delaware. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Bobby Labonte has just completed his pit stop and surrendered the lead. 18 seconds for the Interstate Batteries crew, and that surrenders the lead to Dale Earnhardt. Greg Sachs takes his Pontiac behind pit road. Kyle Petty, who has made his pit stop, now in second. There's your leader. Earnhardt for the second time today. Now he is leading only because he has not yet made that pit stop.
It's a caution to come out right now, though. You talk about a real smart move by staying out this long. If you don't hear everybody up here every once in a while, folks back home, we do have a little ice cream here, and we're taking a break right now. I'm filling in while Mike stuffs his face up here with wonderful goodies, and the race itself, as you can see right there, Earnhardt's going down in the corner, and the nose of his car is beat up from a wreck very early in the race. That's Bobby Hamilton just behind him there in the 43 car. He has some damage also.
Just because you power scarfed that whole Sunday down and there's nothing left of it, you just motor mouth right on. Ernie, you're not going to sit here and enjoy a little butterscotch and ice cream.
We're enjoying ours, buddy. Yeah. You inhaled yours.
Power scarf.
Power scarf. I'm telling you.
I'll learn to keep quiet.
I bet you everybody at home's having a little ice cream too. We're having a good race.
Everybody but the pit guys. Yeah. Sorry, Glenn, Randy.
Sorry, Glenn, Randy.
Anyway, if you think Kyle Petty's trying to stink up this show, don't leave, okay? Richard Petty, as Earnhardt makes his pit stop, Richard Petty came from 6 laps behind to win here in 1975. Yeah. This is far from over. Well, Earnhardt will give up the lead and likely go back to being a lap down on this green flag pit stop. Randy's in his pit.
Well, Richard Childress talking to him all the way in. Yeah, they definitely did just that, buddy. They want to stay out as long as they can. If they catch a caution, it's a heck of a break. He's right back in the game. I want to let you know that Mike Bourne is jacking this car. David Smith still suffering from a back injury. Right side tires are done. Nice sweeper on the car for the jack. One pump, it's up. Left-hand side tires going on. Windshield being cleaned. Good stop. Clean the grill. Earnhardt down and away in 18.8. Good stop.
That will put him a lap down once again as Kyle Petty, now that green flag pit stops are completed, Petty reassumes the lead. 327 laps complete. We'll be right back. Next weekend, it's another doubleheader of NASCAR racing here on TNN. Saturday, June 10th, the Equipment Supply 150 ARCA race, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Sunday, June 11th, the UAW GM Teamwork 500 Winston Cup race live here on TNN Motorsports. Going to be some Busch racing action as well. Big live weekend of oval track action on TNN coming up for you in 1 week. Kyle Petty well out front of this field.
That picture's about 3 years old right there, Kyle Petty. He's got more hair than that now, I guarantee you.
Where's the second place car? That's Strickland. I know he's out there.
There he is as we speak. And Michael Waltrip right on his tail there.
But a lap down. And Earnhardt has gone a lap down now that pit stops are complete. Now third place is Jeff Gordon. Let's pick up Gordon from the helicopter. There's the DuPont Chevy. Fourth place is Ted Musgrave. And there's Musgrave coming into view. Well, he's out there. Ted Musgrave and Bobby Labonte are the fourth and fifth place cars.
That was Morgan Shepherd that come off real wide there, right against the wall.
Here's Ted. Family Channel Ford, and he is fourth, and Bobby Labonte is fifth. And you see what happened to Bobby Labonte, stretching the fuel mileage, but losing. Here's Labonte in the green car, losing track position to Kyle Petty, who got those fresher tires sooner.
You just about have to, if you're racing a guy for the win, when he comes in, you need to kind of come in too, unless he just has a puncture or something like that.
And there's Kyle Petty, your leader once again.
Boy, there's a lot of smoke on the back straightaway over there.
And caution is out. There is Dave Marcus's Olive Garden Chevy down against the inside wall. We have gone nearly 300 laps without a caution here. This is only the fourth one of the day. Now that damage on the front of the car was there from the lap 3 incident. Dave's moving around in the car. Let's show you what happened.
Ooh, he's sideways coming up out of the corner there, gets into the outside wall. Woo, look at Jimmy Hensley. You talk about reaction time. He did the right thing, and Darrell Waltrip's number 17 there. He just barely missed Marcus.
I tell you, Dave, when you hit on the driver's door, that really hurts. And he was going awful fast right there. Hopefully he's all right.
Pit stops will be the order of the day. This will put everybody back on the same sequence. And again, at lap 338, if teams stop now, they would still require one more pit stop. Glenn is with Kyle Petty's pit.
Well, you're exactly right, Mike. That took any question of it out. They will definitely have to make one more stop. We've got the clock on Kyle. It's a great stop. Wow, 18 and a half seconds. He's down and away. That's one of the best stops of the day.
Hut Strickland is also in. Jeff Gordon is coming down the pit lane. There's Bobby Labonte, 35 miles an hour. As Randy LaJoie's car is pushed to the garage area, let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, he had to dodge him just like Kyle Petty just dodged the 22 and the 24, snuck through as he went out. They were already around the left-hand side. They definitely did not want to see this caution. A lot of teams didn't. Gordon down and away. Bobby Labonte's team goes to work on his side. He's done with the lefts. He's down and away. They've got to make at least another one.
And the caution flag pretty much freezes the field, and Sterling Marlin, Jimmy Spencer, and Michael Waltrip will be trying to get back on the lead lap when we come back, as will Joe Nemechek, Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader, and Derek Cope. Welcome back to Dover Downs and TNN's live coverage. I'm Mike Joy with Buddy Baker, Ernie Irvan, as they pick up Dave Marcus's car from turn 2. Time for our Peerless Innovation in Motion, brought to you by Peerless Faucet. Get more out of your faucet than just water. Here's Randy.
Over the past few years in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, there have been a lot of innovations to ensure driver safety inside the cockpit. Now, no driver is more concerned about that than Jeff Bodine. Inside his car, you'll notice that his seat wraps all the way around both of his shoulders. Jeff believes that this will help protect him against injury if he hits the wall. Some drivers just have the seat that wraps around their rib cage. Now, he also has padding around both sides of his helmet. This seat was created and designed by Pete Jackson in Jeff Bodine's own shop.
Thanks, Randy. There's been a lot of progress in that area, and we're told more to come in the area of driver containment and safety.
I hope we can get another shot of Dave Marcus. It seems like they're having to work on getting Dave maybe out of the car, or maybe he's got a leg injury or something, but it looks like they're still working on it.
We'll double check that, Ernie. No report from the scene as yet. Right now they're hooking the wrecker up to Dave Marcus's car. Let's go up to Kyle Petty's pit. Here's Glenn.
Well, guys, we're following the situation here. Kyle is down to only one more set of new tires. Barry Dodson would like to have another set. NASCAR hasn't allocated another set to the teams yet, so you can see them pleading their case right now. The NASCAR official that's talking to Barry is Buster Alton. They're trying to get one more set of tires. If worse comes to worse, they can take off the set that they just took off. They didn't have that many laps on them. I was clocking them. They were a very consistent set of tires. In fact, Kyle was still the fastest car on the racetrack. So right now, they're just pleading their case for another set of tires. Barry told me that if the thing went green the rest of the way, I asked him if he would consider gas only. He said he doubted it. Right side tires would be marginal. They might go with right side and gas, but definitely not gas only.
Glenn, Lee from Texas calls in with an interesting question. If you take a wheel off a street Chevy or a Pontiac, it won't fit a Ford, and vice versa. Now, how about these teams? Can the Ford teams, he wants to know, run Chevrolet wheels and vice versa on the race cars?
Yes.
Thanks, Glenn.
No, the parts are pretty much interchangeable. And Lee, if you'll remember a couple of years ago, Rusty Wallace switched from Pontiacs to Fords, basically just changed the sheet metal on a lot of his a lot of the cars that they had, a few other adjustments, but the chassis components, the spindles, hubs, and stuff that they bolt up to, pretty much the same, pretty much interchangeable. So yeah, they'll fit one make to the other.
Thanks, Glenn. We are 342 laps complete. 158 to go, and Dave Marcus is out of his car, climbing out, or rather he is in the process of getting out right now. The rescue workers are on the scene, and they're getting that car hooked up to be hauled away. I see a blue Goodyear cap. That's got to be Dave. You'll hardly ever see him without one when he's out of that race car. So here he is.
There he
taking
is.
A little bit of oxygen, but he is okay. That's good news.
Seems like he's okay.
Yep. We're under caution here at Dover Downs for only the 4th time today. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Under caution, one more lap, and we'll go under caution. We'll go back to racing. Randy Pemberton, who are the big beneficiaries of that caution flag?
Well, let's get a word with Jimmy Mankar real quick. He's been chatting with Bobby Labonte as they get ready to go back to green. One more lap. These guys are also scrounging for tires. We'll try and get Jimmy a big break. You didn't go a lap down on that. What about your tire situation?
Tires really haven't been a problem for us all day. We really haven't. We've been kind of taking it easy, just trying to stay in the lead lap and just get to the end of this thing. And we're sort of the position we were trying to get in all day long. Kyle was really, really fast, and we just couldn't afford to run with him. So we did get a break right there at the end. We'll just have to see. It's a whole new race from this point on to the end. We'll just have to see what happens.
Got enough tires to make it quickly?
Pardon me?
Got enough tires to make it?
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Okay, what about you, Glenn, down there with Kyle Petty?
Well, it's kind of like a swap meet on the weekend down here. Now Barry has sent 2 sets of scuffs down there to trade for 1 set of stickers. Barry, we saw you pleading your case. Did you do any good?
We're trying, man. We'll trade 3 sets for 1. You're in the lead lap, and you deserve to have new tires. If a car lap down's got them, he can get a lap back on you. Really not fair, but Goodyear's done an excellent job in what they've done.
We're back to green.
Kyle Petty tries to keep Dale Earnhardt from getting back on the lead lap. Everybody's on their feet. And Earnhardt has his hands full with 2nd place Jeff Gordon. 3rd place Hut Strickland. And Sterling Marlin trying to get a lap back. Close that refrigerator door and come sit down, folks. This is about to get interesting.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon's coming back up under Earnhardt off the corner there. He's trying to keep him that lap down. They don't want him back in the lead lap if they can possibly help him.
Would you?
No, I guarantee you I'd be doing the same thing. If he passes Kyle Petty, though, it won't be on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll have to pass him on the high side, and that's going to be extremely tough to do.
Or the apron.
I tell you, one of the reasons they also want Earnhardt to be a lap down is because of the points. It's obviously going to make them finish a lot further ahead than him.
Back under green after this 4th caution of the day. For Dave Marcus's crash at turn 2. Marcus took a bit of oxygen, but is okay. Can Kyle Petty keep the point leader and defending champion Earnhardt a lap down.
I cannot believe it. He went up high. Now Jeff Gordon gets by. Kyle Petty's not running the bottom part of the racetrack like he was just before this tire change.
Or he let Earnhardt go.
He did. He let him go. It looked like to me, he looked like he lifted, getting in, because otherwise.
Why would you do that?
Well, because he's got to make it to the end. They pay for the winner, not for the guy that's a lap down or get on the lead lap.
Okay, Ernie, right behind him is Jeff Gordon, and Jeff is putting a lot of pressure on Earnhardt to put him back a lap down.
Well, let's see if Gordon can do what Kyle Petty was unable to do, hold Earnhardt
there he
a
is.
lap down. There
Yes,
it is.
Sir. That's called check and checkmate.
Yep. I mean, Kyle Petty's looking at this in a different point of view. He's looking at it for the total. Oh, there goes Earnhardt, bumps into Jeff Gordon.
Give him a little
assistance. Love tap. Says, oh, and shoved him up high.
Oh, don't tell me this is the Winston Select all over again. That movie didn't have a happy ending.
No. Well, Gordon won, so it was happy for him.
You see Kyle creeping back in the picture. I think Kyle Petty's car.
Oh, weight car way up high, turn 2, and almost got in the fence. Saved it. That was Robert Presley. Excuse me. Tense moment there. Presley almost lost it in turn 2. There was a lot of smoke, and Morgan Shepherd will come to pit lane. Excuse me.
As soon as my heart starts working again, Morgan Shepherd's having some kind of problem. He's off the pace coming down pit road right now, but it seems that Kyle Petty's car, as I was saying, is better after about 10 or 15 laps. It's not really good on the get-go. You see him running the bottom again where he should have been a while ago when Earnhardt got by him.
No, I think a lot of that too is a lot what you're saying, buddy, is Kyle Petty is running a lot of different grooves on this racetrack, and what he's doing is not driving in real deep and coming off the corner hard. When those guys have all got brand new tires, Kyle's having trouble outrunning them. But when they all get stretched out, I think you're going to see the 42 car come aboard and look at it right there.
No, I wondered why, and I think you guys are exactly right. He's running this race for the last lap and not to win lap 350.
Right.
Okay, what he's doing, he's running the racetrack, not number 3.
Right.
He's racing his race. He's making his line around the racetrack. You see, he's called Earnhardt back now. He'll close in 4 or 5 car lengths in this corner, about the center part of the corner. Watch him close right here. I mean, it's so obvious that he's sticking a lot better than Earnhardt.
And I tell you, probably when he gets up on Earnhardt, if Earnhardt doesn't have any chance of getting by Gordon or he's stretched out some, he'll probably let him go. You know, I mean, Dale Earnhardt's just going to race him just like he raced him.
Remember, Earnhardt in car number 3, the Goodwrench Chevrolet, is a lap down. He is in 6th place. Jeff Gordon's your leader. Kyle Petty is 2nd. 5 cars are on the lead lap. And here's Hut Strickland in 5th place, a little further back. What happened to Hut, Randy?
Well, initially he thought he might have had a flat tire. We hear a lot about that when guys just get a tick loose all of a sudden, especially with new tires. But he said he may have run over some rear end grease and it stuck on the tire through turns 1 and 2. The car wiggled a little bit, got straightened out when he got to 3 and 4, came back over, said he's all right, but he lost a lot of ground.
Man, if he can figure out that, he's doing good.
He's still on the lead lap.
Hey, I've never been able to figure out what grease I ran over.
You know, this is the contrast of what we've been talking about the whole race. Now, look at Jeff Gordon. A minute ago, he couldn't stay in sight of the 42 car of Kyle Petty. Now he's stretching the lead. It's because of Dale Earnhardt. He needs to get by him pretty quick. As I speak, he does just so.
He heard you. Kyle Petty works underneath Earnhardt.
That's what I'm saying. I think Kyle's probably going to go ahead and probably run Jeff Gordon down, and he'll probably go by Jeff Gordon too, because Kyle's car is just a lot stronger today.
Morgan Shepherd has taken his Citgo Ford to the garage area, and the hood is up. Well, it's off, but they're working underneath where the hood would be on Dick Trickle's Quality Care Ford.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by Napa. We keep America running.
We're under caution once again, the 5th time today. Jimmy Spencer spun coming off turn number 2 and impacted the wall in the back straightaway. Watch for the yellow car.
He might have got tagged by Joe Nemechek, but we don't know that for sure.
Well, you can see the banking on this racetrack, and look at all the rubber dust down on the low part of that racetrack. Once you get in that, the car feels like it speeds up. He hit the inside wall really hard on the right side.
Spencer's made it around to the pits for repairs. As you see, here's Glenn.
Still in Kyle Petty's pits, and they're not real happy campers down here right now. Gary Nelson and NASCAR turned down Barry's undeniable deal of 3 sets of scuffs for 1 set of stickers. They do not have but 1 set left. They're playing follow the leader now. They were ready to come in if Gordon should have. Since he stayed out, they'll stay out. However, none of them have come in right now because even coming in to top off with fuel, they still can't make it on that stop alone, so they're going to have to come back in anyway. So right now they're just staying out. Not real happy down here, but things may turn out in their favor anyway.
Thanks, Glenn. Dale Earnhardt, who is 1 lap down in 6th place, will make a pit stop. That'll drop him back to 11th, as there are 6 cars 1 lap down. Also, Hut Strickland, who is on the lead lap, is on pit road. So is Rick Mass, Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte, Bobby Hamilton, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, along with Chuck Bound, Robert Presley, Steve Grissom. Randy Pemberton's near Earnhardt's pit.
Earnhardt's in. The tires that are going on the right side and now getting ready to be taken off and going on the left side, they're 15 lappers. They've got 15 on them already. Earnhardt sits patiently in his car. Hut Strickland with some heavy damage to the nose of the Quaker State Ford sits up pit road as Earnhardt leaves. They're putting some duct tape on that car. No tires changed for Hut Strickland. Just going to work out trying to clean it up a little bit. Let's go back upstairs.
Hut Strickland still on the lead lap, one of 5 cars on the lead lap. Today's Ford Buddy Baker driving tip is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Here's Buddy.
You know, time after time, you hear a driver complaining the car is pushing. The solution to a pushing race car, I'm not going to explain this. I'm going to introduce you to my brother, Randy Baker, who is a chassis expert in the Buck Baker Racing School. Randy, if you had to fix this car in a hurry and get it back out on the racetrack, if it had a push condition, what would you do to it?
Buddy is a quick fix. Say on a pit stop, we can come back and adjust the spoiler. What we'll do is actually take some of the angle off the spoiler or lay it down. We can actually use this for adjusting tool on the car. We create a high pressure area here through aerodynamics. We can actually take some of the push out by lowering the angle on the spoiler. Now another quick fix, you can actually come and adjust the chassis. If you notice the ratchet here goes down on top of the spring. We can take some of the weight off of this corner of the car by screwing around this way. And these are 2 things, Buddy, we can do as a quick fix on a pit stop to adjust the push problem.
Elmo Langley will make the sharp left turn onto pit road with that Pontiac Trans Am. Here he goes. Thump down off the banking. Here we go. Back to green. Jeff Gordon leads Kyle Petty, Ted Musgrave, Bobby Labonte, and Hut Strickland. On the inside, Sterling Marlin is not going to have any luck getting his lap back from the race leader as they haul off into turn 1. Kyle Petty is locked on to the back of Jeff Gordon now.
On restarts like that, Mike, it's hard to get your lap back because the outside car dictates the speed that you come down, and he knows when he wants to go. If you start before he does, they bring you in for a 1-lap penalty. So you got to be real careful on those things trying to get your lap back.
Sterling Marlin, 1 lap down in 7th place, or 6th place rather. Looks under Kyle Petty.
Boy, easy Sterling.
Like you said, nobody's going to pass under Kyle Petty.
Well, we've seen one already, and here he comes as we speak. Sterling Marlin's underneath Kyle Petty as they go down the front straightaway. There's where Kyle's a real sharp race car driver. He didn't force the issue there and maybe get himself in a compromise at the wrecking.
It almost looks like Kyle's car is really getting through the middle real good, but not off the corner real good.
Let's check with Glenn on that.
Well, hey, guys, tires run really deep and really long. Remember when Kenny Wallace drove for Felix Sabatis? Well, they understood Kyle Petty's situation about getting no tires. Harry Dodson sent somebody to them, and they agreed to trade a good set or a new set of stickers to the 42 car for a good set of scuffs. So they do have another set of tires.
And we'll probably have a new rule next week.
I really find that hard to believe that it's going to happen like that, but you never know in racing.
That's it. Hut Strickland bobbles a bit.
Strickland is some kind of sideways there.
Now Jeremy Mayfield gets underneath. Something's wrong with the 26 car.
Mike, it hadn't handled right since he bumped that left front corner just a little while ago. He is not handling like he was before that. You see the damage there on the left front of the 26 Quaker State car.
Jimmy Schrader goes past. That's not for position. Strickland is on the lead lap. Those other cars he's battling with are not.
Sterling Marlin is giving up absolutely no ground whatsoever with their leader right now.
Third place battle. Ted Musgrave behind Kyle Petty there.
You know, Ted Musgrave always runs quite well in a long race. You know why? He's a very good chassis man. He builds his own chassis when he run up north and all, in Wisconsin and all. So he knows what's going on, and that's very important anymore. Just being able to drive without the right communication with crew chief and all don't mean a thing.
By the way, Russ from New York called in with a correction. I think I'd said that Richard Petty won Pontiac's last victory here in 1984. Not true. Rusty Wallace in 1993, of course, drove a Pontiac for Roger Penske and drove it to victory lane here. So it would only be the first Pontiac win here in 2 years. Not 10 or more. Should Kyle Petty prevail. A Chevrolet leads this race, a Pontiac in second and a Ford in third. A Chevy in fourth, a Pontiac, or rather a Ford in fifth. Take you back up front, Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin. Still trying to get a lap back from the race leader. No easy chore.
Well, you see Sterling, he's doing everything you're supposed to do. Right now, Jeff Gordon tuned in. He's really running well. He's picked up the pace quite a bit. See paper blowing up on the front part of that car. It's good to the small piece of paper. You see how it's stuck to the grill on that car when it's on the back straightaway. It's still there. Mike, when you're a lap down, you see how Sterling's driving right now. He's been a very fast car all day. Got out of sequence somehow and dropped back in the pack here and lost a lap, but he has been fast all day. He moved up in the top three just in 100 miles when we first started out. Then he kind of got out of sequence and fell back a little bit. Right now, he's gaining on Gordon. I think he's going to get back in the same lap.
Now, he has reeled in Jeff Gordon, and they are running away from Kyle Petty.
That's Kyle. I'd want to know where those tires that I just took off a while ago, where they put them. You see Sterling now, he's getting underneath Gordon. I don't think Gordon will fight him very long to keep him a lap down. You see Sterling under him there. He'll make the pass quite easy coming out turn two.
Well, remember, Gordon is the one that drug Sterling to the front at Daytona or Talladega.
I seen something just then. Jeff Gordon's car is a little tail happy coming up out of the corner, so that might be the reason that Sterling caught him. You see just behind him there, Kyle Petty pulled down within 4 or 5 car lengths of him.
I think that was a lot the problem that Jeff Gordon's been having most of the day. They've been trying to adjust it. Remember, they were saying it was one thing getting in and another thing getting off, and they didn't know how to adjust it.
So Jeff Gordon leads this with 121 laps to go.
Here comes Kyle. Boy, I tell you, it's like a magnet almost. About 15 laps, and this car really gets to flying around the bottom part of the racetrack.
Last week, here's Kyle Petty on the bottom looking for the lead, and Gordon comes down to shut him down.
Well, it's just a matter of time. Isn't there a song that says that? He's quite a bit faster than Gordon right at the moment.
He'll probably take it right now.
On the bottom, Kyle Petty. Jeff Gordon upstairs. No traffic to be a factor. Kyle Petty back out front, lap 381.
Yeah, look at Musgrave, though. He's run them both down, and he's in third place in the 16 car there. I tell you, he is flying through here.
He may not be third for long.
That's what I'm thinking. Watch this car accelerate off the corner. Gordon is not getting forward like he needs right now.
Looked a little loose right
there.
Shook
the car just a bit there.
I don't think he did it on purpose either.
Here comes Ted Musgrave to take over second spot.
And here comes
Look at Bobby Labonte. I tell you what, when things go bad, you get a flogging on a racetrack. You have to believe that.
He's really loose. And Michael Waltrip, not on the lead lap, goes by Jeff Gordon as well. 117 laps to go. Plenty of time for one more pit stop to change the handling. Shake out the outcome of this. Live next Sunday, or rather, well, live next Sunday, we're at Pocono. Live next Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. From Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, join Ken Squire and David Pearson for the Carolina Pride Red Dog 250. The network that brings you more Busch Grand National racing than everybody else will be live at Myrtle Beach.
Pearson will have to leave right now if he's going to ride that horse that far.
Should be a fun race. I know we'll all be tuned in after the ARCA race at Pocono. Right now, the fellow who's tuned in is Kyle Petty. He has put that Pontiac into warp drive. But Ted Musgrave in traffic running him down, and Bobby Labonte within striking distance. Folks, don't be alarmed. There are just 5 cars on the lead lap here. The record number of cars on the lead lap for this race at Dover Downs is 10. There have never been more than 10 cars to finish on the lead lap here.
Mike, I'm going to say something right now. I think NASCAR can quit looking for a solution for down pressure right now. Look what's leading the race. The Pontiac's leading, a Thunderbird's in second, and they're walking away at this moment.
Sure works here. Now, again, let's correct our correction. Pontiac has only won this race once. Richard Petty in 1984. As the viewer called in, as Russ called in, Pontiac's last win here was Rusty Wallace in 93, but that was the September race. Pontiac has only won the May race or June race once.
You can't pull nothing on us,
I can't pull anything on Greg Field, I know that. He has the facts, man.
He's got them.
Just the facts.
He's got a little ruffled looking about that, didn't he?
See, this is a battle for position here. 7th place at stake. Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt.
It looks like Dale might have a little advantage in the corners over Michael. You see him come up there. Down the straightaway, Michael's running quite well, but down in the corner, I thought they were going to get in the same real estate at the same time there, but Dale did make the pass.
Here's your Napa running order brought to you by Napa. We keep America running. 107 laps to go.
You always wondered when before I was ever on one of these broadcasts, how you guys always come up with some of these great answers.
We do remember some things, Ernie.
It's amazing the stuff that you remember. And then now, since
why are you sounding like Ed McMahon?
You know,
right? How in the world can you possibly know this stuff?
I come up here and it's like, man, I wonder how it's going to happen. And next thing I know, some guy just automatically puts something up, and it says Dale Earnhardt won this race 1988. You know, and it's like, somebody else has been doing all the homework.
Well, some of it.
Just for the people at home that didn't know that.
That somebody is Greg Field.
Greg Field.
Thanks a lot. Someday you're leaving us, and we're still stuck as a dummy.
Well, Kyle Petty.
All right, here's the big
Kyle
question.
Petty is making mincemeat out of everybody right now.
Here, you can answer this.
Okay.
Steve from Georgia wants to know, if Kyle Petty wins, will he cut his hair?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
I can tell you why. He said every time he cuts his hair off, he gets hurt. I'd be sitting on mine. I don't know about you.
Happened to Samson.
Look at Musgrave. He's moving in on Petty.
He's going to give
they
Kyle a haircut.
almost touched there. Musgrave had to really check up.
Should I say what he just said on that one?
Well, you said he has the stuff to say. Go ahead.
He said he'd need a weed eater. Now I didn't think this is just a note.
Yeah, blame it on Greg Fielding.
Blame it on Greg Fielding. Greg Fielding said that he'd need a weed eater.
All right, Ted Musgrave now has caught Kyle Petty.
Wow. Look at Ted Musgrave accelerate up out of the corner. He's quite a bit faster than Kyle Petty from the center of the corner to the straightaway. I think Kyle gets in the corner just as well, but watch him close ground right here. You see that?
And Teddy's getting to that middle.
Wow, this is the first real challenge that Kyle's had after a long run. 25 laps or 30 laps, nobody's been able to even get close. Look at Musgraves come up on him coming out of the corner. You know, Mike, here every once in a while you'll hold your own in maybe 1 and 2 and be quite a bit faster in 3 and 4, because both these corners are really different. You look at it and you say it's a mile track and both corners are banked the same and all, but it's very, very different. Down the back straightaway, you really get a sling into the corner where you kind of run off in the corner in one.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that got changed now. Not to second guess what you're saying, buddy, but a lot of that sling has changed because, you know, before you used to really go downhill into that corner. Now they've actually changed the shape a little.
Man, Kyle Petty got completely sideways off turn 2 just then. I don't think Kyle's car is quite as good as it was just before this last pit stop.
Randy LaJoie back on track. His car had been pushed to the garage earlier, but he's back out there in the MBNA Pontiac, 23rd position. Bobby Hamilton on pit road for what could be his last stop of the day. Ernie, while we go to break, you can ponder Richard's question from California. He wants to know why crews use the illegal parts when they realize they'll get caught.
Why did he ask you that, Ernie?
I guess because we're going to break.
We'll think about that one for a minute. Kyle Petty leads. Ted Musgrave, Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon, and Hut Strickland. We'll be right back. A look at Dover Downs from our steel area camera. Maybe one of those steel weed eaters headed for Kyle Petty's pit. Powerful, easy to use, and durable. Chainsaws, blowers, and trimmers. Qualities you can depend on in steel territory.
Mike, I'm going to tell you, Bobby Labonte has turned up the wick. He's moving in on our leaders right now. You can see him just behind these 2 cars down the straightaway here. He has come into the picture. I'm telling you, he looked in the mirror and seen Earnhardt coming. He just turned her up about 2 notches there. He is flying around this racetrack.
There's the interval. Bobby Labonte is close to within 1.3 seconds of Kyle Petty. Those are the cars on the lead lap. Down through Hut Strickland.
I tell you got to remember, it's getting close to payday. We've got about 89 or 90 laps left, and it's time to do it.
Well, what's the story on Kyle Petty's tires, Glenn?
Well, for a while a miracle happened. They had none, then they had 2, then they had 6. Christmas came in June, and now the Grinch may come and steal Christmas from them. Gary Nelson has gotten wind of this trading that's been going on down here. By the way, the next time I trade cars, I want Barry Dodson to go with me. But Nelson is talking to Kyle's team right now. Want to find out just exactly where they got these tires. There was a guy that came down from Ted Musgrave's crew a little while ago, went back and reported this. In the driver's meeting this morning, Nelson told all the guys that he was going to deputize all the crew chiefs, wanted them to report any suspicious activity to him. That's exactly what happened. We'll report a little further when we see exactly what the outcome of this is, but they're just wanting a little fact-finding mission right now.
And that 31, Ward Burton's team.
I'll tell you
where that came from. The wheel, anyway.
Gary Nelson's probably been watching one of those RCA cams because he probably heard us talking about Barry swapping tires with somebody else. Probably that's what led into it, probably.
I hope not. But Judge Wapner will be along shortly to issue his decision. And Ted Musgrave is about to issue his on Kyle Petty, or is he? Traffic, heavy traffic. Jeff Bodine up high. Bobby Hamilton just in front of Kyle. But Musgrave might have an opportunity here, but no. Kyle Petty skillfully works the traffic, hangs on to the lead.
Now you see Bobby Hamilton get out of the way and let the first, he let the first 2 by. I bet Bobby Labonte like that a whole bunch. But anyway, what he did, he moved over, and I'm sure he didn't know that Bobby Labonte was right behind him. Then he pulled back down in the groove, but now it's going to take Bobby another 2 or 3 laps to gain back what he lost in that 1 corner.
Fans of the Tin Indian are doing a little celebrating so far today. All the Pontiac fans in the crowd. Pontiac has won 115 Winston Cup races from 1957 through 1973. In 61, they won 30 of the 52 Grand National races that year. The very first was on Daytona's old beach road course in 1957. Cotton Owens won in Pontiac for the Make's first victory in Winston Cup racing. Here's Glenn.
Gary Nelson just ordered Barry Dodson down off the toolbox for an explanation. We're going to get to the bottom of this right now. It seems to be pretty friendly right now. Nobody looks to be real mad. I think they just wanted to find out what the deal was. But they did get them from other teams, and they traded them from other teams. They didn't get them from an outside source, and I think that it's going to be okay.
And they didn't get any additional tires. They swapped a set with another team. Jeff Gordon loses a spot there to Hut Strickland. 4th place. Here's Glenn.
Just again, things are not okay. They got to take the tires back. We're not sure who these tires came from. There is a 31 number, an 8 number, a 4 number. These tires have been around, but they're not going to stay here long. Come back around again, away from the 42 pitch.
Well, there's no DNA evidence to link those tires. I think what happened was they all came out of the tire pool that you saw the NASCAR official guarding. And there they were distributed to one team, and that's where they came from. But their identity shall forever be unknown.
Mike, I got to tell you, I raced for 34 years, and I don't think once they ever made a ruling that I ever won an argument with NASCAR. It's over with when they tell you it's over with.
That's it. So Tiregate continues here at Dover Downs. Ken Schrader started 19th with a come-from-behind win here at Dover Downs. Happened in 1991. It was Schrader's most recent Winston Cup victory. Kyle Petty started 37th today, so that would indeed be the record if he could go to victory lane. Well, Glenn, what's the defense appeal argument here?
Well, let's find out. Barry, you tried, but what did they say?
They said they had that we had to take those tires back now. I said, hell, I don't even know where they came from, man. I'm up there trying to win a race. There's a car down here, you know, about 4 cars down. There's 3 or 4 laps down, got 2 sets of stickers. I'd at least have to have 2. So he's got a pretty good set of deputies out here right now. It's just if we put our set on, we'd like to have another set with lug nuts drive. This is a heck of a deal right here, I'll tell you. But the Coors Light Pontiac's done the job all day. That's the call.
How's the car running right now?
It's fine. We told him a while ago, said, you know, Musgrave's catching up with you. He said, don't worry about him. So I guess we're okay.
All right. They don't seem to be too concerned about it.
Barry's next TV appearance may be on a well-known legal defense team out in California. Who knows?
I was watching Nemechek and Gordon there on the front straightaway. That was 2 young Turks there that wanted the same spot there a couple of times. I thought they were going to get a little paint swapping going on. They made a couple of passes to each other.
Well, let's go down to Jeff Gordon's pit. Here's Randy.
Well, Jeff has been complaining the car has just gotten loose, and they've been in and out of a good chassis setup all day long. All he said to the guys is tighten it up somehow. That's it.
So Gordon runs in 5th place, still on the lead lap. Here at Dover Downs, there are 78 laps left to run in the first 500-mile test of the concrete surface. Rusty Wallace gets tires. We'll be right back.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN is brought to you by A1 Steak Sauce. It's how steak is done.
Kyle Petty has a 1-car length lead, and that's all over Ted Musgrave as Joe Nemechek makes a pit stop. He is the 9th place car, 1 lap down. I told you earlier, Jeff Gordon's team got fined a record $60,000 for lightweight hubs at Charlotte. I'd asked Ernie earlier and didn't get an answer as yet. We got a little busy here. Why a team would take a chance running lightweight parts or parts that didn't meet a NASCAR spec, given the vigilance of the inspectors and all.
Well, I tell you, you know, it's evidently they thought that it was going to get them some sort of an advantage. Obviously, it didn't give them that much of an advantage because they didn't have those parts, and they also sat on the pole here. But Teddy Musgrave just took the lead, and Bobby Labonte went ahead with him, and he's in 2nd.
And activity in the Kyle Petty pit as Brett Bodine makes a stop, takes on tires. Michael Waltrip is in as well.
The other thing we got to comment
Here comes
on.
Kyle down pit
Petty's
road.
coming on pit road. The other thing is Sterling Marlin's also back on the lead lap.
That's true. Let's go down to Kyle Petty's pit.
Well, Mike Kyle brings the Pontiac in once again. These are the last 4 new tires that he has left, so they're hoping that this thing will go green the rest of the way. That last set, as Ernie noticed, was not quite as good. The car didn't work quite as well on that set, so hoping this set will be just a little bit better. And the left side's on there, down and away. So they're going to roll the dice early here. Musgrave should be coming in very soon.
Bill Elliott is in. Sterling Marlin is in. Randy LaJoie makes a stop. Last round of pit stops here with 70 laps to go. Ted Musgrave, who has never won a Winston Cup race, is in the lead. Now, yesterday,
he's off the pace. He's coming in. He's either out of gas or has a problem. I don't know what it is, but he's down on the bottom. They don't drop down that quick unless something's wrong.
My guess, buddy, is on worn tires, they don't want to give anything away to Kyle coming back on the track right now on new tires.
Yeah, Mike, but he pulled over on the back straightaway, and he was on the flat all the way through 3 and 4. So
well, he's shooting ether in it, too.
Tire down or quick decision or out of fuel?
See him shooting ether in it. He's shooting ether there in the front to make it crank.
Out of fuel?
Yeah, it would look like he was out of fuel because he pulled over down the back straightaway.
And the race leader becomes Hut Strickland.
Wow,
Excuse me, or is it Bobby Labonte?
It's going to be a long stop.
Bobby Labonte is also on pit road, so Hut Strickland assumes the lead. 4-tire change for last week's Charlotte winner. Bobby Labonte gets going. Randy's there.
Well, Bobby Labonte's team put 4 stickers on. They talked to Bobby and they asked him if he wanted scuffs or stickers. So evidently they wanted to make a choice based on what Dale Earnhardt did with 15 lappers. The same for Sterling Marlin. Stickers. Horrible.
And Hut Strickland leads this race now over Jeff Gordon, and this will put Dale Earnhardt back in the lead lap. Only those 3 cars on the lead lap right now. Jeff Bodine makes a stop. Earnhardt pitted under caution at lap 364. The rest of the leaders pitted under caution at lap 338. So Earnhardt can go about 26 laps further on this tank of fuel and set of tires.
You can see Ted Musgrave's crew, they were really irritated they had that bad stop right there at the end. 21 seconds, you know, that's a long time when other people are making them in 18.
Yeah, but this isn't over. It's far from over. Jeff Gordon is in. He was the second place car at this moment, 35 miles an hour, the speed limit down pit road. Randy's there.
I'll tell you one thing, a good way to pick up a little time on the track, how about 2 tires? Because that's what these guys are going for. They're going to change rights on the 24, stick a can and a half of gas in, and run the final 65 laps. Tires are in, waiting for gas. Gordon goes. Wow, they picked up a little time.
The first race that this kid ever won, Jeff Gordon in Charlotte, he took on 2 tires and held them off near the end, so he knows what to do.
Robert Presley's on pit road. Dick Trickle and Todd Bodine getting service. Long stop for Jeff Bodine. The left side is up there as yet. And Hut Strickland, who has never won a Winston Cup race, is in the lead.
Yeah, I thought Earnhardt was going to come into pits, but he just looks like he's slowed down a little bit.
Working traffic. He said he can go about 15 laps further than the rest of them based on his last pit stop.
I bet Kenny's saying, you know, I have a little more time than I think I do. I might need to keep this team. They're showing a lot of promise.
Kenny Bernstein owns that 26 car. 62 laps away from the flag here at Dover Downs. Hut Strickland leads Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte, and Ted Musgrave. From our steel area camera, makers of leaf blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, powerful, easy to use, and durable qualities you can depend on in steel territory. These aerial views of Dover Downs. And of the race leader, Hut Strickland. Mark Martin's made a pit stop. Rick Mast is in. Now, Mark, remember, was the last of the cars to come out of the garage, and he's currently 35th. Improved his position by 1. Rick Mast is the 8th place car. Here is your leader, Hut Strickland.
I was just looking at this white monster. Look at the racetrack, how much darker it is now just by the amount of rubber that's in the racetrack. It's almost like blacktop now.
Yeah, it sure is, you know. And that's a lot what we saw at Bristol. Once they concreted that place, and then we could start seeing where the cars were running. And I think we're going to get this every year. And I think it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, I think you're right. We go to Milwaukee in just about a month for the Busch Grand National race. And in the suburb of Milwaukee, they are building Alan Kulwicki Park in Greenfield, and they're trying to raise some money to complete and light some softball diamonds. So the Alan Kulwicki Memorial Fun Run and Walk, 7 kilometers, of course. That's 7 kilometers, 7 AKs. Friday night before the Busch race, 4th of July weekend in Milwaukee. Chad Little's Busch team has challenged Buddy Baker and I and anybody we can find to run the 7 kilometers. Oh, boy.
Wait a minute, run?
I can tell you this. I'm going to send you out as a rabbit.
Oh, thanks.
And Buddy Baker will walk.
You'll keep up.
You can walk or run. If you're going to be in Milwaukee, we'd like you to participate. Or if you'd just like to pledge That's some money for the runners, walkers, for Chad Little's team, for us, for some of the ESPN guys that might show up. A very worthy cause, and all the money raised goes to Alan Kulwicki Park to complete that. And of course, we're going to go Polish victory lap style, the opposite way around the racetrack. This is going to be a lot of fun, folks. So dial 1-800-350-ALAN for more information. We'd like to have you out there to run or walk with us, to give us oxygen afterwards, or to call in your pledges. Very worthy cause, and one that we fully support. We'll look forward to it.
I don't see the problem. We can beat Chad Little's team.
How?
Look at
how
Ernie looked at me and said, "You got hit harder than you out."
Obviously. What are you talking about?
You're here.
Oh, I'm gonna be at Daytona.
I know. We're gonna have you up there.
Oh boy, should be fun. Here's Jeff Gordon, who is out there in 6th place, now showing as 1 lap down as we've not completed this round of green flag pit stops. We've talked about this $60,000 fine that Ray Evernham and team got after last week's Charlotte race. Here's Ray's take on it as of yesterday.
I had a part on the car that was not NASCAR approved. I thought it was not illegal, knew it was not NASCAR approved, but in no way did I intend to put anybody in danger or jeopardize the future of the sport or anything like that. You know, I mean, I love the sport. I give my life for it. It was a mistake. We have to go on now and prove to everybody that those lightweight hubs had nothing to do with the performance of that car. It shouldn't be a reflection on Jeff Gordon or Rick Hendrick or any of the guys on my team. You know, I'm the crew chief. That's my responsibility. Jeff Gordon doesn't know a hub from a rotor, so he didn't even know it was on there. And of course, Rick didn't. You know, so we're just going to go ahead and stand by it. NASCAR's doing what they think they have to do in the interest of safety, and we're going to pay the fine and try and go on and win some more races.
Thoughts of Ray Evernham. Mike Waltrip just moves underneath Jeff Gordon. They are a lap apart on the racetrack. Michael Waltrip in 8th place.
Boy, you got to love Ray Evernham. You know, he shoulders the whole responsibility on himself. It was his choice, but still in all, you know, he's doing everything he can to win races with Jeff Gordon. And sometimes, you know, nobody said they couldn't run these hubs. It was a question mark in his mind, so he put it on there. He got caught, paid the penalty.
Well, and so how some of these deals work out, it's like being out on the highway. 9 cars are speeding, 1 guy gets caught. He's going to pay the fine, everybody else goes on. Everybody learns a little something.
That's probably true for sure.
48 laps to go here at Dover Downs. Hut Strickland, is he on his way to winning his first Winston Cup race? Stay tuned. Right after our telecast here from Dover, Join Win, hosted by Rusty Wallace. A special time due to our live coverage today. This week, Rusty takes you, the fans, behind the scenes of his own Miller Genuine Draft Racing team to follow their every move. That's on TNN next. Dale Earnhardt makes his pit stop. Hut Strickland has already been in. So this will shuffle the lead lap cars. And it completes all the green flag pit stops for the day. Here's Randy.
Lap 457 in the books. Earnhardt says, give me 2, that's all I want. Right side tires and enough gas to go the distance. Right sides are already on. No problem so far. Good stop for Earnhardt's crew. 12 seconds flat. Wait for gas.
Pretty quick, but I don't think it will get him back out on the lead lap. We'll see. Kyle Petty is the race leader. Earnhardt comes back out onto the racetrack.
He's going to be on the lead lap, it looks like.
We'll double check. Hut Strickland's best finish this season was 7th last week at Charlotte. His best career finish, 2nd at Michigan in June of 1991 behind Davey Allison. I think he was driving Bobby Allison's car that day.
Mike Earnhardt did get back out. He's in the lead lap. He's just in front of these cars. The black cars in front of Kyle Petty there was Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace.
So he is on the tail end of the lead lap. Kyle Petty leads. Bobby Labonte, Ted Musgrave, Hut Strickland, Jeff Gordon. The top 5. Dale Earnhardt is 6th. Sterling Marlin is 7th. Mike Waltrip, Joe Nemechek, and Rusty Wallace.
I tell you what, we've got a race for the lead. We've been talking and doing all this stuff. Bobby Labonte and Kyle Petty, there's 40 laps to go, and they've got a heck of a race going on.
NASCAR Select Panel has voted the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. The survey and our jury says the old wheeler dealer himself, Barry Dodson, tried to trade those tires. And for his pit strategy and for giving Kyle Petty his best run in a long time, Barry Dodson's the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. Congratulations.
Absolutely. This guy, you can tell who he's for. One person out there, Kyle Petty.
Bobby Labonte going for 2 in a row.
I'll tell you what, Bobby Labonte knows how to get around that honey jar, don't he? I'm telling you, right up on top there. He's running every bit as good as Kyle Petty.
Telling Bobby Labonte that traffic's coming.
Yeah, in the form of Ted Musgrave.
Right.
Yeah.
The 25-45 is what they had run for the lap time.
Well, this is the first 2 cars here, and Ted Musgraves is about a half a turn behind. That's how much he lost on that one long stop there right near the end. Look at Bobby. He's getting where he pulls up on Kyle just a little bit in the center part of the corner. Got great forward drive off the corner there.
Now, is Bobby Labonte running right now for the lead, or is he biding his time?
I'd say right now, with this few laps left, I say he's giving the old college try right now. He's waiting on Kyle to slip out, and he'll try to take advantage of it. Here comes Musgraves, though. He's on the move.
Yeah, it's not much to go. 35 laps, and I think it's time to show your stuff right now.
Musgrave over the last 5 laps has not been able to close in.
Well, I know one thing. Kyle Petty better hope they don't have a yellow flag with 10 or 12 laps to go, because it takes him that long on new tires to really get going again. And Bobby Labonte and them are a little bit quicker, I think, on fresh tires.
They don't have no new tires.
Well, yeah, good point.
There's no more left.
And we've had a lot of questions about this on the 800 line about why didn't Goodyear bring enough tires. Well, they did. They brought all they thought they'd need for this race as of yesterday. But the number of cars on the track and the experience of practice and qualifying taught them that the tires they brought were not best suited for this racetrack in this new condition. So last night, Leo Mel told us, they went back. The tire workers, tire busters, worked almost all night. Started at 4 a.m. this morning, remounting a new, different compound of tires. They brought what they could put together to have a good, safe race today. And then NASCAR allocated those tires after each team started the race with 6 sets, so the distribution would be fair and everyone who was in contention in this race would get tires when they needed them, subject to the available supply. So I think the best take on this, to summarize, is that Goodyear and NASCAR and everyone did the absolute best they could to have a safe, competitive race and supply an equal number of tires to everybody as they needed them. And I think they've done a very, very good job. And next time we come back here, yes, there will be a full supply of tires based on Goodyear's experience of what they learned here today.
Mike, if they would have run this race with the tires they had here yesterday, it would have looked like Barfield's junkyard around here, because I'm going to tell you, about 35, 40 laps was all you could run. Then you blistered them, and then the wall you'd go.
I believe you're right. Bobby Labonte.
It pretty much looked like that after the first lap, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Bobby Labonte keeps edging up on Kyle Petty, and then the gap grows to a car length or 2.
Yeah, I tell you, Bobby's a really good car right now. Kyle's still really tough. So they're showing everything they have. If Bobby could get to him and pass him, he would do it. That's for sure. But we're going to have to see. There's 30 laps to go, and, who knows what's going to happen in the next 20 or 30 laps.
There's Ted Musgraves. He's still trying. He's in 3rd place there. He's trying to close in on the leader.
So with 29 laps to go, let's take a break and we'll come back. He's already taking one. You can tell pit stops are over for now. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dover Downs, Delaware. This new concrete surface took its toll in the first 60 laps. 3 caution flags, 22 cars damaged, some knocked out of the race. But since then, we've been relatively trouble-free. 5 cautions overall, counting Dave Marcus and Jimmy Spencer's crashes. And we're just 23 laps from the finish as these two cars battle for the lead, Kyle Petty and Bobby Labonte.
You know, Ernie, I've been watching this race. It goes back and forth. Kyle Petty will get a 15-car length lead. All of a sudden, Bobby will close back up. It's been back and forth like a yo-yo. I don't know who really has the best car.
I tell you, it's real hard to say. I know that they're giving it all they got, and we're going to know in about 12 more laps who's got the best car, because the best car is going to win this race.
If Bobby Labonte wins this race, he will have won his first 2 victories back-to-back. You have to go all the way back to 1964 to find a driver who did that. Billy Wade didn't just reel off 2 consecutive wins, counting his first win. He won 4 in a row.
I'm going to tell you that if it was 30 laps right now, I think that Ted Musgraves is the fastest car on the racetrack. He's just got a lot of ground to make up.
However, Dale Earnhardt, the last car on the lead lap, is reeling in Jeff Gordon, and that will be the battle for 5th place.
Pretty smart group there.
And the Richard Childress team, crew chief Andy Petrie, wins the RCA Pit Strategy Award, brought to you by RCA, changing entertainment again. Because of that last pit stop, that 2-tire change put Earnhardt back on the lead lap and in contention. Should this race have a caution flag, and certainly in good position to pad his Winston Cup points lead. Rusty Wallace there right in his tire tracks, won't win his 4th Dover race in a row today, but Rusty is a lap down in 9th place.
Well, that's Earnhardt in the 3 car there, and just in front of him is Jeff Gordon in the 24, and that is, like you say, for 5th spot. Now back up to the lead here. Kyle Petty, look at this, look at the gap right here. There'll be 10 car lengths difference. All of a sudden, Bobby Labonte comes right up on his deck lid.
I tell you, I can see now why all these people are standing up and cheering their driver on, because it's what they've paid their good money for, and is standing here and waiting and watching.
Ernie, you know yourself, they're going into lap traffic right now, Mike. You can see him going in there, running as hard as he can. Bobby Labonte gets a little high there. He loses about 4 or 5 car lengths.
Or that was
really
costly.
Comes off the corner right there.
But that was either he's looking for a new groove or the car slipped, but it could have been costly with only 16 laps to go.
Yeah, he's wanting to see the 42 do some of that instead of him all the time.
It'll happen. That's the way lap traffic works.
They're pulling up on Joe Nemechek, the 10th place car. Joe's had a good run today. He's but a lap down. There's Nemechek, the Burger King car, just ahead, and Dick Trickle, hoodless and fenderless, in the Bud Moore Quality Care Ford.
Hoodless and fenderless.
And thunderous right here. 42 in the 18 car. Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte. Bobby Labonte won his first race ever last week in Charlotte, chasing Kyle Petty. And Kyle's been a long time in between watering holes here as far as winning.
And Earnhardt has passed Jeff Gordon. That's 5th place.
He had that, then it looked like Kyle Petty was catching some lap traffic in the wrong place. It looked like Bobby Labonte was going to be able to gain on him.
Laps to go. Well, will Kyle Petty pick up his 8th career win, or will Bobby Labonte double 2 wins in 2 weeks?
Well, Bobby's starting to rainbow that corner. He's catching back up pretty well.
16 car is going to be a factor here before the end of the race.
Did you hear that?
5 or 6 car lengths behind y'all.
The 16 car, Ted Musgraves, is closing in on him. I could see that a while ago. He is really coming up. That's him, the 3rd car behind the 2 leaders there.
Yeah. I love a big finish.
I love it. I tell you, nothing's easy in this sport.
Now, and I'll have to eat my words, because I did say at about lap 250 that Kyle Petty was trying to stink up the show.
Yeah.
He was running away from everybody. And folks, this is why you do not leave and then just come back for the last 5 laps of a NASCAR race.
It's got all the smell of the rose right now.
That's right. Let's show you the interval between Kyle Petty, Bobby Labonte, Ted Musgrave. It's but a car length or 2.
Yeah, none.
Boy, I tell you what, I like Ted Musgrave's chance right now.
But he's got to pass 2 of the cars, and it's going to be real tough to do.
Got no room. He's getting in trouble back there.
This reminds me, Kenny Schrader watched the Busch Clash from up with us on a scaffold for CBS. And as things started to come together like this, Schrader made a great comment. He said, "Oh, he says this could get big." Here we are.
Kyle's Petty's car could get big right now.
Could get wide.
I'm going to tell you one
wide.
thing. The 16 car, Ted Musgraves, is going to get wide here in just a second. He is really pulling down on the front two cars.
Need a watch to measure that interval.
No,
cut it in car lengths.
That's it.
You hear those spotters when they start yelling at you, that 16 car is going to be a factor. They time these cars, and they know they're closing in.
The only trouble with this battle at this point is the folks up there in the stands, some of whom will say, you know, if this race was only 550 miles.
Yeah.
But it's a great one.
You know, about the time we heard the spotter tell the 18 car there of Labonte that the 16 car was going to be a factor, Kyle Petty just adios. He's pulled out about a 10-car length lead right now over the two cars there. I'm sure his spotter must have said, "Hey, you got something coming back here."
Yeah, we really don't have Kyle's spotter on the radio.
This could be the break for Kyle Petty. If Ted Musgrave and Bobby Labonte get to battling for second, that could be a big break for Kyle Petty. 8 laps to go. Now, will Musgrave work with Bobby Labonte to run down Kyle, or will they battle?
No, they're looking for that spot right now. I would say if Musgrave gets any chance whatsoever to get under him, he's going to take it.
Yeah, it looks like right now.
Well, Parity fans, it's Pontiac, Chevy, Ford. How close can you make this?
That's it.
7 laps to go. Look at this move. He's trying to get under him. I tell you, Bobby Labonte, he's making now all the right moves right now to hold him off.
I can hear on the radio that Bobby Labonte is actually probably running a couple tenths quicker now than what he was before. But Kyle Petty's stretching it out. Now he's coming up to lap Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Kyle's about to lap Jeff Gordon. If Gordon holds him up a bit, we've got a 3-car race again. 6 laps to go.
Gordon won't do that. He'll give him plenty of room.
I didn't mean intentionally. I just meant by where Kyle might catch him.
They really did. Jeff Gordon really was a man of racing, and he moved over and let him go.
Look at Ted coming. He's trying to get that inside. No way.
And Gordon staying up high. Didn't allow Labonte to come all the way up off that corner.
Uh-oh, look at this.
Now they're underneath Gordon. Lap him by. But they've got to work to catch Kyle Petty. 5 laps to go.
5 laps to go. 5 to go.
We just said that.
Yeah. There's an echo in here. Those spotters keep you right on the money. They tell you if he's trying to pass on the inside. You'll probably hear that in a second.
That's car number 18, Bobby Labonte's spotter that you're hearing.
We're actually hearing Jimmy Maycar a lot on the radio.
Look at Ted. He is trying everything to get just a half a car length under him there. No dice.
570.
That's Jimmy Maycar's voice, giving Bobby Labonte lap times.
He's telling him what he's running lap times.
4 laps.
Good lap.
Mike, you might be right. They are closing back in on Kyle.
Do they have enough time? 3 laps to go.
Good line.
Traffic will be a factor. Joe Nemechek ahead and Jimmy Hensley in Darrell Waltrip's car. They will catch that pack, I believe, before the flag.
You can see Bobby Labonte moving in on Kyle Petty. He's gained some 5 or 6 car lengths. This is not good here.
Oh, yes.
Lap cars stay up high. Barry Dodson on the radio to Kyle. Move over, guys. We're coming through. Come on, move over.
2 to go.
You didn't need to hear that one to know what he was saying.
A little bit right there.
And Bobby Labonte is there. He has caught Kyle Petty.
You got some room back there.
2 laps to go.
Oh, boy.
Starter has the white flag in hand. Here they come up off turn number 4. It's the last lap.
Mike, he's making a move on the outside. I don't know whether he's going to make it stick or not, but he's trying to pass Kyle Petty on the outside.
And here comes Musgrave. It's a 3-horse scramble. Lap car up ahead is Joe Nemechek. He won't be a factor. Labonte draws alongside of Kyle Petty's Pontiac. The Ford drops underneath. They'll come off turn 4 for all the money.
Here comes Musgraves underneath Bobby Labonte coming off the corners. Dead heat coming down for the flag.
It is a dead heat. Kyle Petty wins it. Who finishes second?
It looked like Bobby Labonte to me for second, but I'm not real sure.
Barry Dodson there has reason to celebrate. It's his first win since June of 1990 when he and Rusty Wallace won at Sears Point. Kyle Petty led 271 of the 500 laps in earning his 8th career win and his first since June of 1993. You'll celebrate with them in Victory Lane after this.
We're in Dover in Victory Lane. Kyle Petty has pulled in. He is very winded. He's getting a little oxygen right now. He got a big cold drink of water. But what a great day he has had. This is the furthest back anybody has ever started in Dover to win a race. He started 37th. And also his pit crew just now arriving in Victory Circle. The longest they've ever had to run to Victory Lane. So let's go back up top to Mike Joy for just a minute while Kyle gets his breath. Then we'll talk to the guys.
Thanks, Glenn. A very happy scene down in Victory Lane. There you see that Felix Sabate's crew led by Barry Dodson just now getting into Victory Lane all the way from turn 4 to get there. Barry Dodson's 19th career win as a crew chief as well. Let's give Kyle a minute to catch his breath, and we will take a break and be right back to Dover Downs to celebrate with Kyle Petty and meet some more of the runners-up here today.
Today's exclusive coverage of the Miller Genuine Draft 500 on TNN has been brought to you by Cold Filtered Miller Genuine Draft, making the world a very cool place. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Take it to the star. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Barry Dodson wins our Miller Genuine Draft Pit Crew of the Race Award, brought to you by Cold Filtered Miller Genuine Draft, taking the country by storm. Glenn, I think the strangest Victory Lane celebration we ever had was at Charlotte in the Winston, where Davey Allison went to the Care Center instead of to Victory Lane after winning. This must rank right up there with it. Glenn?
Well, Kyle's still catching his breath right now. Taking a big drink of water there.
Last lap, how about that? You know, we were really, really good for 300 laps, 350 laps. In the last couple hundred laps, you know, we were getting other people's tires and we were getting stuff, and, you know, we just couldn't do nothing with it. It was a little bit pushy, a little bit loose. And I tell you what, the 18 car and the 16 wore my butt out.
And you heard it from Kyle there, just catching his breath. Congratulations to Barry Dodson for winning the Miller Genuine Draft Pit Crew of the Race Award. Mike?
As you look at the finish, our thanks to Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, Ken Schrader, Michael Waltrip, who carried our racing electronics in-car radios today. And thanks to Buddy Baker and Ernie Irvin, Glenn Jarrett, and Randy Pemberton. I'm Mike Joy. We'll speak to you next weekend from Pocono, Pennsylvania.